Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Invincible Sect Leader. The succubus disciples are scarred at the beginning. Chapter 61. Although you can obtain a human body and move more conveniently, your level will also decline to a large extent. At the same time, in the immortal cultivation world, there are constant frictions between various races and discrimination against each other. Therefore, there will be no idea of monsters being born in human form and integrating into human society despite discrimination. Thinking of this, when Chen Yi looked at Bai Mao Loli again, he couldn't help but feel a little moved in his heart. He could imagine that when the white-haired Lolita transformed, she must have made a lot of determination and sacrificed a lot. For the creatures in this world, cultivation is everything. And she, a monk who was willing to put aside hundreds of years of cultivation and degenerate into the innate realm, also wanted to find Chen Yi, who had saved her. In Chen Yi's eyes, rescuing the white-haired Lolita was just a matter of convenience. But in Bai Mao Loli's view, Chen Yi was worthy of spending 3 realms of cultivation and meeting her benefactor. She was willing to drop everything to find Chen Yi. This state of mind was enough to move him to death. Lang Luoli must have seen this early, so she didn't resent the white-haired Loli who suddenly appeared. Chen Yi detected that her qualifications were sufficient and asked seriously, "I want to accept you as my disciple. Do you want to stay in Profound Heaven Sect to practice?" When the white-haired Lolita heard Chen Yi's words, she was a little stunned at first, and then her face lit up with joy. She knew that some human race didn't like monster race. When she came to find Chen Yi in disguise, she was actually ready to be kicked out. This Profound Heaven Sect, which suddenly appeared in Lingshu Mountain, was discovered by the monsters early on. The spiritual power in Profound Heaven Sect is extremely strong. Among the monsters in Lingshu Mountain, almost every monster wants to come and take a look. She originally thought of coming to help Chen Yi do something to repay her kindness, but then she left quickly so as not to take advantage of her benefactor. As a result, not only did her benefactor not drive her away, but he even wanted to keep her. She didn't come here to repay her kindness. Didn't she owe her benefactor another favor? The white-haired Lolita learned how humans apprentice, kowtowed to Chen Yi and said, "I am willing to meet the master." After performing the apprenticeship ceremony, Chen Yi remembered the system notification sound in his mind. Ding, it's detected that the host has taken on 1 direct disciple, reward system points, 20,000. Chen Yi was slightly surprised when he heard the prompt in his mind. I didn't expect that accepting a direct disciple of the 6th grade spiritual route would give me so many system points. It seems that in the future, recruiting direct disciples will be the fastest way to obtain system points. However, one must be responsible for accepting disciples. Chen Yi would not tie up all the 6th grade spiritual route monks from all over the world for the sake of system points and imprison them so that they could generate system points. This is so evil. After paying homage to Chen Yi, Bai Mao Loli said to the 3 disciples, "Hello, senior sisters." Her voice was soft and waxy, making people feel itchy in their hearts. Hu Juyu felt so happy when she heard her calling her senior sister. Before, she was the youngest among the 3 disciples. This time she also became a senior sister. There was a feeling of being needed that made her happy. Hu Juyu rubbed the white-haired Lolita's head and asked Chen Yi, "Master, should we give her a name?" Chen Yi nodded after hearing this. Also, she has been here for so long and still doesn't have a name. Chen Yi closed his eyes and pondered for a while, thinking about a name that suited her. Before she transformed, she was a white tiger. After transforming, her skin was white and soft, and the hair on her body was also white. "Let's call her Bai Yahweh," Chen Yi said. When Bai Yahweh received the name given by the master, she excitedly stepped forward and hugged the master. Excitedly, she rubbed her little head against master's belly. Monsters generally have no names, but once they have a name, it means they have a master. And if you have a master, you have to serve the master for the rest of your life. Although Chen Yi didn't know this, Bai Yahweh had secretly decided to stay with his master forever. Lang Luoli watched the scene where master named junior sister Bai, and slowly recalled the origin of her name. Lang Luoli was not called Lang Luoli at first. This name was given to her by her master later. She is different from the other 2 disciples. She has almost no appearance of her parents in her memory, and she has no idea where her earliest name came from. So after getting to know master, she asked him to give her a new name. It seems that she was also so happy when she got the name given by her master. Moreover, when master named her, he seemed to say that she always had a poker face, so the word, cold, was added to her name. I have to say that the name chosen by master is quite unique. Chen Yi accepted new disciples, and the system store also updated new techniques. This technique is called Linglong Zongong. It is an agility-oriented technique. Attack and speed coexist, and it can kill enemies invisible. It is tailor-made for Bai Yahweh. Chen Yi redeemed it and handed it to Bai Yahweh. This is a technique given to you by my master, please keep it. Bai Yahweh took over the technique and looked as excited as the 3 disciples did when they received the technique for the first time. As she opened the skill immediately turned into a stream of light and merged into her mind. Feeling the power contained in this technique, Bai Yahweh said excitedly, "Master, can I try the power of this technique?" Chen Yi nodded and replied, "Of course, I am your master now, so I will naturally guide you in your practice." After receiving master's affirmation, the 2 came to the square. Chen Yi put on a posture of, "You take action." The other 3 disciples also stood aside curiously, observing the 2 men sparring. After Bai Yahweh received master's affirmation, she gradually leaned down. The white fluffy tail swayed in the air, and its limbs turned into cute tiger claws. But if you look carefully, you can see that there are sharp claw blades hidden under the furry tiger claws. If he were caught, there would be a river of blood. Bai Yahweh began to circulate the spiritual power throughout his body, and then suddenly sprang out. In the eyes of the 3 disciples, junior sister Bai disappeared out of thin air. Not even a trace of afterimage was left. The eyes of the 3 disciples quickly searched the scene. It was discovered that Bai Yahweh had already arrived behind the master. The tiger claw, which was as big as Bai Yahweh's head, just fell down. However, she was worried that she would hurt her master, so she did not extend her sharp claws, but hid them in her flesh pads. Naturally, his worries were excessive. The 3 disciples could not see Bai Yahweh's movements, but Chen Yi could see them clearly. Chen Yi turned around casually, stretched out his hand, and grabbed her furry tiger claw. "Well, not bad, it's very fast. If the person you are fighting against is not a master, even a monk from around 9th layer heaven in the foundation establishment stage may not be able to catch you. How about it, do you want to continue?" Chen Yi said in admiration and asked at the same time. Bai Yahweh's entire body was held by master's hand, half hanging in the air, looking very cute and interesting. Bai Yahweh didn't reply, but swayed with all his strength. Just like swinging on a swing, it fell on master. He hugged master hard, and his whole body hung on master's body. Bai Yahweh felt that the smell of Chen Yi was like catnip, which naturally attracted her. Especially this feeling, she loved it so much that she wished she could stick to it like this for the rest of her life. Bai Yahweh's arms hugged master's neck tightly at this time. The white legs covered with white stockings were also wrapped around the master's waist. The entire petite body just hung on the master's body. The lowly girl has pure white shawl long hair, which faintly reflects silvery white light due to the sunlight. He looks like a little angel descending from heaven. Her skin is now white and rosy, with the red filter and angelic appearance, she is simply breathtakingly beautiful. She took a breath and said with a smile, "Thank you, Master, for accompanying me in my practice. I am very happy." She looked up at Master's perfect face and soft lips, and she felt an impulse in her heart. She liked the smell of Master so much and wanted to taste it. The life of a monster has always been more arbitrary, and it doesn't understand what cover-up is. For example, they eat when they want to eat and sleep when they want to sleep. There are no restrictions and not much to do. So at this time, she didn't hesitate at all. Directly facing the master's face, he slowly poked his head over. Chen Yi was attacked unprepared and was completely stunned. Bai Yahweh gradually lost strength, her legs gradually loosened, as if she was about to fall. Chen Yi was worried that she would fall, so he had to subconsciously support her soft body. When the 3 disciples saw this scene, their eyes widened. "Didn't you say it's easy to practice? Just do it, right? Why are you still talking? Hey, junior sister Bai, you are a bit over the top. Don't rely on your cute appearance to do whatever you want." The 3 disciples looked at each other in confusion. Although they were all dissatisfied with junior sister Bai's behavior, No one was too embarrassed to step forward to stop junior sister Bai in person. After all, junior sister Bai is so cute, they will have Terua in the future. Junior sister Bai's soft body looks so easy to touch. What should I do if I make junior sister Bai unhappy and won't touch her? After a long time, in the end, Su Jiqian, as the senior sister, stepped forward. She gently grabbed Bai Yawei's neck and lifted her up like a cat. Junior sister Bai, this is too illegal. She first pretended to teach her a lesson, then she leaned into junior sister Bai's ear and whispered. Don't worry about what senior sister Su said just now. Just be careful and don't let senior sister Leng find out. She is petty and jealous. I don't care about her, senior sister. Also, next time something like this happens, at least call. After Su Jiqian said that, she lifted junior sister Bai's neck and placed her firmly on the ground. Leng Luoli didn't hear what senior sister and junior sister Bai said. I don't know why, but she always thinks it's not a good thing to say. He actually said it behind her back. It was more like he had a ghost in his heart. Although Leng Luoli didn't hear it, Hu Juyu really heard it. She looked at senior sister Leng, who was called small-minded by senior sister Su, and couldn't hold back for a moment, burst out laughing. Leng Luoli's face was filled with questions. Junior sister Hu, why are you laughing? Is there something on my face? Junior sister Hu suppressed it and went back. PFF'd, no, it's nothing. Senior sister Su's description is indeed quite appropriate. At the other end, after Su Jiqian put junior sister Bai on the ground, she started to feel a little dishonest. She couldn't help but swallow her saliva as she looked at her master's face that was slightly flushed because of the attack. Then I just hugged him. Leng Luoli, senior sister Su said she was teaching the ignorant junior sister Bai, but in the end she herself. This is too much. Leng Luoli, senior sister. Eating secretly in front of me again, ice falling technique. Leng Luoli was reluctant to attack the lovely junior sister Bai, but she showed no mercy to her. I even feel like I'm being too gentle every time. Leng Luoli released her skills involuntarily, intending to teach this senior sister a lesson. Su Jiqian originally wanted to take advantage of junior sister Bai's cover to take advantage of this opportunity to fish in troubled waters. Unexpectedly, junior sister Leng discovered him. The cold pressure fell on Su Jiqian. At this time, she only felt a kind of chill, which went straight to the Tianling cap. Realizing that she couldn't escape this time, she quickly ran away. How dare you run? Stop. Leng Luoli stomped her feet angrily, stretched out one hand, and an icy blue ice staff appeared in her slender hand. She grabbed the beautifully carved ice staff and chased after it angrily. Perhaps because of her slender legs, it was effortless to catch up with her senior sister. The summoned huge ice cone hit the bluestone ground countless times, leaving ruins everywhere. After Huo Bao and the two left, only Chen Yi, Hu Juyu and Bai Yawei were left, looking at each other in shock. Hu Juyu was obviously used to this scene and shrugged helplessly. Master, the two senior sisters have gone out to play, let's continue practicing. Chen Yi, fair enough. In Chen Yi's opinion, his three disciples are all the most lively and active in age, and it is normal for them to like to play rough. He is not a strict master. Since his disciples like to play, let them play. Su Jiqian is being hunted at this time. Su Jiqian. Master, I don't like playing very much. Help. Chen Yi didn't notice the eldest disciple's plea for help and continued to practice with the remaining two disciples. Time passed slowly, and it was afternoon in a blink of an eye. In the women's bath in the indoor hot spring, Su Jiqian and Leng Luoli just came in and haven't showered or changed yet. Leng Luoli looked impatient and cold as she said to senior sister Su. You said you had something good to compensate me for. Then why did you bring me here? Leng Luoli's icy staff was about to hit Su Jiqian's body. As a result, Su Jiqian suddenly begged for mercy and said that he would give her a gift to ask for forgiveness. Then the two of them appeared here. I saw Su Jiqian rummaging in the corner of the dressing room, and then pulled out a piece of clothing. She held this dress very dearly, as if she was holding some rare treasure. Su Jiqian. Well, that's it. Leng Luoli. What do you mean? Why did you give me clothes? Besides, this clothes belongs to a man, so I can't wear it, right? The piece of clothing Su Jiqian held was a blue robe. She was seen holding the piece of clothing while taking a deep breath, with little pink hearts flashing in her pupils. Su Jiqian said to junior sister Lang, "This dress is extraordinary. I managed to steal it from Master's bedroom. You are allowed to wear it today, just for a moment." As Su Jiqian spoke, she handed the cyan robe to Lang Luoli like a treasure. Lang Luoli's face was full of questions at this time. "Please, what kind of gift is this? Moreover, why did you steal Master's clothes? You still have to wear it for me, why should I wear it?" Lang Luoli covered her head helplessly, almost laughing out loud at this senior sister. "I won't wear it, so what's your idea?" Seeing that junior sister Lang didn't want it, Su Jiqian quickly took the clothes back and held them like a treasure. "You rejected this yourself, so I'll wear it myself." With that said, she changed into this cyan robe in front of junior sister Lang. Lang Luoli looked at her senior sister with interest, wanting to see what she was going to do. Under her gaze, Su Jiqian began to make some strange movements. Lang Luoli was shocked and quickly grabbed the senior sister's hand. What are you doing with Master's clothes?" Su Jiqian's pupils were filled with pink hearts, and she said in a dreamy voice, "Once you put on Master's clothes, you will be surrounded by Master's scent. You know, Master's smell is so good that I can't help but." Lang Luoli, although we are the same disciples, senior sister, if you do it in front of me, this is too much. We still don't know what Su Jiqian did. Perhaps only Lang Luoli knew. When the camera turned, Hu Juyu was standing at the door of the indoor hot spring. She looked at the sign on the wall and said doubtfully, has the owner renovated the indoor hot spring? In the past, the hot springs were opened here after opening the door, but now there are men on the left and women on the right. She followed the sign and walked towards the female. After opening the door, Hu Juyu walked in without thinking. At this time, in the dressing room, Su Jiqian was taking off the blue robe. When Hu Juyu saw this scene, she thought it was the master changing clothes. His face turned red immediately, and he blocked his eyes and backed away. "Master, I'm sorry, I went to the wrong place." As she spoke, she hurriedly left the dressing room. Su Jiqian and Lang Luoli looked at each other in the locker room. "It seems that I just misunderstood." Before they could explain, junior sister Hu scared them away. But it's okay, Hu Juyu should react soon and come back. At this time, Hu Juyu retreated outside in panic. She leaned against the wall and took a few deep breaths before calming down her inner excitement. "It was so dangerous, I almost offended the master. Maybe I went in the wrong direction. The senior sisters should be on the opposite side." Hu Juyu murmured and then walked towards the other end. She opened the door and came to the dressing room, but there was no one inside. After Hu Juyu changed her bathing clothes in the dressing room, she came to the room in the hot spring pool. At this time, Chen Yi was soaking in the water with a face full of enjoyment, and his thoughts had already drifted to the sky. Since Chen Yi only exposed his back, Hu Juyu didn't see clearly who was in the water. Is it senior sister Su? Where is senior sister Lang? Hu Juyu thought it was senior sister Su inside, so she soaked in the water while talking. When Chen Yi heard Hu Juyu's voice, his face was immediately confused. What's the situation? Why is there an extra person in the bathtub? What made him even more confused was that he could understand it if it was the eldest disciple's voice, but how did the third disciple's voice appear here? Seeing that, senior sister Su didn't reply, Hu Juyu swam toward senior sister Su with some confusion. After all, according to her understanding of senior sister Su, she talks a lot. The rare silence made Hu Juyu feel very unusual. Hu Juyu swam up to the so-called senior sister Su, and the two looked at each other. Hu Juyu, Chen Yi, Hu Juyu, Lord, Master. After seeing who it was, Hu Juyu was immediately shocked. She was so shy when she saw her fake master changing clothes just now. This time when she saw him being honest with her, she just felt dizzy. Like a special effect, the flush on her face spread to her collarbone in an instant. His mouth opened like a wave, and he was extremely shy. Not long after, she felt dizzy and then fell directly on her back. Waves of bubbles emerged from the hot spring water. Chen Yi, Uaa. Upon seeing this, Chen Yi quickly went to the water and fished her out. Then he held her and placed her on the shore. Seeing that Hu Juyu was still in a semi-conscious state, Chen Yi suddenly felt at a loss. Although he is a monk, this is his first time rescuing a drowning girl. What should we do in this situation? Feed her healing pills or perform artificial respiration? Artificial respiration. Chen Yi looked at Hu Juyu's delicate face and soft lips, and his heartbeat quickened for a moment. But in order to save the girl who fell into the water, Chen Yi couldn't care so much. Although his identity is inappropriate, he has met him many times before, so Yue should be able to understand him. Thinking in his heart, Chen Yi's head slowly moved towards him. And just when Chen Yi was about to touch Hu Juyu also opened her eyes at this moment. Falling into the water briefly is not a problem for ordinary people, let alone monks. Hu Juyu was temporarily comatose because she was too shy and had too strong emotional fluctuations. After she recovered, she stared at her master who was so close. But even though she is shy, she will not refuse her master's request. Hu Juyu stretched out her arms at the last moment and hugged her master tightly. After more than 10 minutes, Chen Yi broke free. Although this was not the same as the artificial respiration he had in mind, the goal was achieved. Seeing that Hu Juyu had almost recovered, Chen Yi asked, "Yue, is there something urgent that makes you come to see me as your teacher?" Hu Juyu shook her head. After getting over the initial extreme shyness, she gradually adapted to it. She wanted to say that her presence here was all a misunderstanding. But now that the matter was over, Hu Juyu felt that she should have more important things to say. In this perfect place, she wanted to express her feelings to her master. Hu Juyu had been preparing for this moment for a long time. She mustered up her courage and said, "Master, I like you." After she finished speaking, she looked at the owner nervously. She didn't know if the master would accept her confession. What should she do if she offended the master because of her confession? Will I no longer be able to post with the owner in the future? Chen Yi was slightly stunned after hearing Hu Juyu's confession. He originally wanted to reply that he also liked Yue and that Yue was a great disciple. But looking at Hu Juyu's expression, demeanor, and tone of voice, it seems that she doesn't mean that she likes him. She is confessing her love to him. Chen Yi had long discovered that he had always had a crush on the third disciple, just like the eldest disciple. But out of embarrassment, he never said it. In this environment with only 2 people, it is more suitable to express your feelings. If Hu Juyu was really confessing to him, Chen Yi felt that he needed to make it clear to her. If Hu Juyu doesn't like his emotions, he will avoid and restrain them in the future. This time, Chen Yi took the initiative to confess to his disciples. "Yue, my teacher also likes you very much. But sometimes, liking has more meanings. Actually, sometimes I will have other thoughts about you. Of course, I know this is wrong. But if you don't like it, you will avoid it as a teacher in the future." Chen Yi made it very clear, not as ambiguous as Hu Juyu. There was no intention of force, and the words were full of respect. When Hu Juyu heard her master's words, she paused for a long time, and then thousands of thoughts flooded into her heart. The thoughts had nowhere to vent, and eventually turned into tears, dripping on the ground. She hugged her master excitedly and said with choked sobs, "Master, I have liked you for a long time. Yue has always had this idea when you first picked her up. For all these years, Yue has been afraid to say anything for fear of offending her master. To hear the master say this, Yue is so happy, so happy. Master, I love you. Let's be together, in the true sense." She freely showed her emotions to her master, and this time she had nothing to hide. She truly told all the things she had wanted to say to her master over the years but had not dared to say. Chen Yi cried excitedly when he saw her, and was deeply touched in his heart. The situation between Hu Juyu and the eldest disciple is different. The eldest disciple has a very outgoing personality and rarely hides his thoughts. The first disciple's love for Chen Yi has never been hidden, so the moment he got it, the first disciple's expression was extremely satisfied and happy. But Hu Juyu is different. She has always buried her love in her heart, hiding it very deeply. The moment it really broke out, the excitement in her own heart was unparalleled. When Chen Yi learned that the person he liked also liked him, he was very happy inside. Chen Yi also said gently, "Well, we are together. As he spoke, he kissed her again. I don't know how long it took. At this time in another hot spring room, Su Jiqian and Lang Luoli soaked in the hot spring pool with faces full of enjoyment. Lang Luoli seemed to suddenly think of something, and asked senior sister Su doubtfully. It's been so long, why haven't you seen junior sister Hu come back? Could it be that he really went to the other side, but it seems that master went there. She heard master's voice coming from next door, so she knew that master should also be taking a bath. If master is next door, Hu Juyu should return soon. Su Jiqian was soaking in the hot spring with a melting expression on her face, not thinking about it at all. She replied nonchalantly, who knows, maybe he went back to sleep. Is it possible that you still thought that junior sister Hu would confess to master? Don't even think about it. With junior sister Hu's character, it's impossible. Lang Luoli didn't think about it at first, so she nodded in agreement. I'm not worried about this. I just feel that it's a bit pitiful that junior sister Hu has lost the opportunity to take a bath. At this time, Bai Yahweh was lying on the roof of the indoor hot spring basking in the sun. At the same time, he would lick his hands that turned into tiger claws from time to time. Although she is a white tiger monster, she looks very much like a white cat. Basking in the sun was her favorite thing to do in her daily life. After all, before she turned into a human form, she actually had nothing to do. Either competing for territory with similar species, basking in the sun, or playing with prey that is about to die. Of course, monsters also have high intelligence, so they also have language to communicate. It's just that most of the exchanges between Monster King and Monster King are just roars before the battle. However, in Lingshu Mountain, there is a top existence that surpasses all Monster Kings, and all the Monster Kings regard that person as the Monster Emperor. The realm is also so high that no other Monster King can compare to it. Bai Yahweh often played with the Monster Emperor before, and the two were good friends. The last time they met, Monster Emperor said he was very curious about the sudden appearance of the Profound Heaven sect and wanted to see what was going on inside. When they meet again next time, Bai Yahweh will definitely brag to her about what she saw and heard in Profound Heaven sect. Bai Yahweh felt a little strange when her master didn't show up for a long time. Is master taking a shower? It's strange that it takes so long for humans to take a bath. Unlike those monsters, they can be clean by just licking their fur. Bai Yahweh has a thoughtful expression on her face. She has a somewhat natural expression, coupled with her white hair, she looks extremely cute. Not long after, she suddenly figured out something. The reason why humans don't lick their fur, but clean themselves by bathing, is because they can't reach it. How pitiful, licking fur is very comfortable. Master is not blessed to enjoy this. Since the master can't do it, then she should help him as a way to repay her kindness. Bai Yahweh resolutely confirmed this idea in her heart. The time came early the next morning. In the indoor hot spring. The red roses have long been washed away by the water. Hu Juyu had already changed her clothes and was sitting on the dressing table used by senior sister Su to arrange her hair. His expression was one of unparalleled happiness and satisfaction. She couldn't remember how many times she said, "Master, I'm so happy." Yesterday. Chen Yi came to her side at this time and gently helped her tidy up the broken hair around her ears. To be honest, Hu Juyu's physical fitness is extremely excellent. Chen Yi originally thought that Hu Juyu would be like Su Jiqian for the first time, semi-conscious. It didn't work out, it was because he was worrying too much. It may be related to the different skills he practices. The skills Hu Juyu practices are originally related to physical fitness, so his physical strength is also exceptionally good. At the same time, the figure is also perfect in a different way. The waistcoat lines on the lower abdomen are very toned, with just the right combination of muscles and flesh. Hu Juyu stood up at this time and said to the master. "Master, UAA is ready. Let's go out. I'm afraid the senior sisters have been waiting for us for a long time." Chen Yi nodded when he heard her words. Because of the experience of the previous one, Chen Yi specially helped her out. When pushing the door handle, Chen Yi suddenly felt worried. How should I explain to Su Jiqian later? Although it is a bit late to think about this now, Chen Yi has no intention of hiding it from the eldest disciple. He still didn't know if the eldest disciple would be furious after hearing the news. But no matter what, since he had done it, he still had to confess to the eldest disciple. It was not his style to hide his most trusted disciple. Thinking in his mind, Chen Yi no longer hesitated and opened the bathroom door. When they came to the square, Lang Luoli and Su Jiqian had woken up early and were meditating in the center of the square. Bai Yawei also imitated the two senior sisters and meditated seriously. When everyone saw Master appearing, they all smiled and came forward to say hello. Su Jiqian crossed her hands on her chest, looking at the Master with careful eyes, admiring the Master in the morning with blurred eyes, and said good morning at the same time. Lang Luoli, on the other hand, seemed to have restrained herself a lot. Although her movements were not so exaggerated, the love in her eyes could not be restrained. Bai Yawei jumped up and said hello. Her jumping ability was very strong, and she could even easily jump to the same height as the second disciple. Chen Yi stood in front of everyone and looked at the energetic appearance of his disciples, naturally feeling happy both physically and mentally. He smiled and said to everyone, "Good morning everyone too. By the way, my teacher will help you practice later. Master, I want to go and see how the inner disciples are doing." The demon race people had just been accepted into the sect, and they were extremely weak before. Now that some time has passed, Chen Yi wants to see how they are recovering. Although they are not direct disciples, the inner disciples are also Chen Yi's disciples, so he naturally values them very much. After all, they are all systematic points. Ah no, they are all lovely disciples. Lang Luoli heard the Master's words, shook her head and said, "Master, I feel like I'm about to break through and I want to continue practicing." A breakthrough usually occurs when one's cultivation reaches a critical point. If one stops for too long, it will be difficult to break through again. Chen Yi was a little surprised and asked with concern, "Are you having any difficulties? Do you need my teacher's help?" Lang Luoli's level is higher than that of her senior sister, and both of them have similar talents. Although there is a small realm difference between the two, Lang Luoli can still break through faster than her senior sister. It has to be said that Su Jiqian has slacked off a lot in her cultivation. But we can't blame Su Jiqian for not being serious. After all, Su Jiqian had much less time to practice than Lang Luoli. As for where the time has gone, you can only ask the majestic Master Chen Yi. Lang Luoli shook her head again and vowed, "No problem Master, it's just a breakthrough in innate realm, I can handle it." For a genius with 6th grade spiritual roots, he may encounter difficulties in making breakthroughs only after reaching the foundation building stage. In the case of innate realm, as long as there is enough spiritual power, it is easy to break through. And the most indispensable thing in Tianquan Hall is spiritual power. It's like someone has been pouring spiritual stones into Tianquan Palace, inexhaustible and inexhaustible. When Chen Yi heard that the second disciple said it was okay, he felt relieved. "Well, I'll take the others to see it first. Be careful when making breakthroughs. If you encounter problems, you can call me your teacher at any time." After saying that, Chen Yi waved his hand and led everyone into the sky. And Lang Luoli also started practicing again, striving for an earlier breakthrough so that he could be used by his master. On the way, Chen Yi deliberately slowed down. He looked at Su Jiqian beside him with some guilt, hesitated for a moment, and then said, "Kaianer, my teacher wants to tell you something." Su Jiqian looked at the master with great interest and smiled slightly, very charmingly. She had already guessed what the master might say. Succubi are particularly sensitive to certain aspects of their senses. Just like when Su's mother looked at Su Jiqian, she could tell at a glance. What does master want to say to Kaianer? Master, think about it before we talk. Kaianer will definitely not be angry. Su Jiqian said with a smile, her voice was extremely charming. But her last words were meant for master. The purpose is to tease master and see how master will react. Chen Yi did indeed fall into the trap. Hearing the last words of the eldest disciple, his expression was extremely guilty. The eldest disciple is definitely going to be angry. Forget it, you have to admit it if you do it. Even if the eldest disciple is angry, he will still say it. Thinking in his mind, Chen Yi summoned up the courage and said, "Master, I was with Yue yesterday." Hu Juyu was on Chen Yi's right side at this time, also a little shy. Senior sister Su likes her master, and Hu Juyu also knows this. She took the lead and got ahead of Senior Sister Sue. She always felt a little immoral and felt sorry for Senior Sister Sue. Senior Sister Sue used to take care of her so much, but in the end she actually. At this time, Hujuyu still didn't know that Senior Sister Sue was actually earlier than her. She was always kept in the dark. Sue Jiqian smiled even more when she heard Master's confession. To be honest, with Master's character, she thought that Master would want to hide it from her for a while. And she had already been prepared to pretend not to know. Unexpectedly, Master was unexpectedly honest and told her directly. No matter what, the honest Master seems to be more handsome, okay. Sue Jiqian smiled and hugged Master's arm, looked at Master with a charming smile, and said charmingly. Master, are you afraid that Kyaner will be angry? How could it be? Master, don't worry. It would be better to say that Master didn't abandon Kyaner because he fell in love with someone else. Kyaner is so happy. Chen Yi was shocked when he heard the eldest disciple's words. This is a science fiction movie, definitely a science fiction movie. The eldest disciple is not only big-hearted, he is also ridiculously big-hearted. Wait, these two seem to be the same place. At this time, Chen Yi had not yet converted from modern thinking. In the immortal cultivation world, it is common for a strong person like Chen Yi to have multiple Taoist companions, in addition to monks who practice the ruthless way. After all, monks are people who can live for thousands of years. During the long journey of cultivating immortality, they will encounter all kinds of people, too many to count. In Sue Jiqian's view, the new Taoist companion Chen Yi met was still her most trusted Hujuyu. Then there is no need to be angry. Although she doesn't mind if the Master has a few more Taoist companions, she will indeed be angry if they are strangers she has never met. You can't want all kinds of savages. At this time, Sue Jiqian flew to Hujuyu's side and said with a smile. But I still feel a little surprised. Junior Sister Hu, you actually have the courage. But it doesn't matter. Since you are also Master's Taoist companion now, then next time the three of us will. Hujuyu, Senior Sister Sue, what are you talking about? This can be said. Moreover, it is shameful enough to show Master alone. At this time, Bai Yahweh looked at everyone blankly. She still didn't know what the topic her Master just talked about meant. After all, she has not yet fully integrated into human society. But it won't take long for her to realize what she said today. Chen Yi was relieved when he saw that the eldest disciple was not angry. As long as the disciples can live in harmony, he, the Master, will feel relieved. The four masters and disciples of Chen Yi sped up and flew in the direction of demonic cultivator. And in Tianxuan Hall, on the square, Lang Luoli broke through alone, her brows gradually furrowed. She didn't know why, maybe because of a woman's sixth sense, she always felt that her senior sister and junior sister were hiding something from her. It made her a little restless. Breakthroughs have suffered as a result. Although Hujuyu and her master disappeared together for one night, Lang Luoli still did not doubt Hujuyu in her heart. In fact, the same goes for Sue Jiqian. If it weren't for the succubus's perception, it would have been impossible to doubt Hujuyu before meeting the master today. After all, Hujuyu had been too introverted before, and it was impossible to take the initiative with Master. But Lang Luoli still vaguely felt something was wrong. Suddenly, she seemed to understand something. It must be Senior Sister Sue who secretly aided behind her back again, it must be. Otherwise, why would she feel something was wrong? We must find an opportunity to confront Senior Sister Sue again. The innocent Sue Jiqian didn't know yet that she was taking the blame for Junior Sister Hu. The four masters and disciples of Chen Yi have arrived above the demonic cultivator department. Viewed from a high place, Su's father was guiding the uniformly trained inner sect disciples to practice. In the square of the demonic cultivator department, the inner disciples were still wrapped in bandages. They lined up neatly and released their attack moves together. Although these inner disciples are not at a high level, the unique moves of the demonic cultivator technique are released together. The sky-like evil aura spread all around, and even the monks in the foundation building stage would tremble in fear at this scene. Seeing this scene, Chen Yi nodded with satisfaction. He was also very pleased to see these disciples practicing hard. Chen Yi and three disciples landed in the square of the demonic cultivator department, intending to see how the disciples were doing. When the disciples saw Chen Yi appearing, They all saluted. Hello, Lord Sect Master. I've met the sect leader. Su Jiqian hadn't seen her parents for a long time, and she had a lot to say to her parents, so she left temporarily. Chen Yi came and said to the inner disciples, "No need to salute, I just came here to see how you are doing. If there is anything you don't understand about cultivation, you can ask me." Seeing a group of energetic disciples, Chen Yi also felt that he was in a good mood, so he wanted to give everyone guidance personally. All the exercises redeemed in his system store have reached the great accomplishment, so it is no problem for him to guide these disciples. Chen Yi never expected that there would be something he didn't know. When the inner disciples heard what the sect leader said, they were all very excited. Being able to get personal guidance from the sect master is extremely rare and valuable in their opinion. After all, they are not like Su Jiqian who can see the sect leader every day. I saw a female disciple coming forward. She has horns on her head that are somewhat similar to Su Jiqian's, her figure is very perfect, and her appearance is also very good. Although she is still a little inferior compared to Su Jiqian, she is definitely an extremely beautiful woman. Just listen to her smiling and saying to Chen Yi, her voice was unusually enchanting. "Sir, the disciple feels that his meridians are blocked during practice. I always feel a tightness in my chest. Can the sect leader help me take a look?" As she spoke, she moved forward. This female disciple is obviously also a succubus, and her body exudes a breathtaking fragrance. When the other female disciples saw this, their eyes turned red, and they also came over, secretly thinking about their deep scheming. "Sir, the disciple seems to have accidentally hurt himself when releasing his moves and introduced the evil spirit to other places. Can you help investigate?" Right here, the short-haired succubus pointed to her voluptuous thighs. "Sir, Master, I feel that the corner of my forehead feels a little uncomfortable recently. I wonder if it is due to acclimatization. Why don't you touch it and see?" Sect Master, disciple also. For a moment, Chen Yi was surrounded by many disciples. Chen Yi felt that he couldn't even look at it and was dazzled. "What kind of questions are you asking for? After practicing the basic skills of demonic cultivator, you are already immune to evil spirits, but you actually say that you have been infected by evil spirits. This reason is too flawed. Although you have just recovered and your health has improved, you are not so energetic, right? Doesn't this force me to make mistakes? At this time, Su Jiqian was talking to her mother on the other side. "Mother, are you still used to living here?" Su Jiqian said to her mother with concern. Mother Su smiled very happily when she heard her daughter's words. "Why aren't you used to it? My mother has just lived here for one day, and she seems to have made a breakthrough, and she feels that her practice skills have become faster. In addition to the abundant spiritual energy concentration outside Tianshuan Hall, other places in Profound Heaven Sect are also very rich in spiritual energy. Although it is still a little inferior to Tianshuan Palace, it is still an excellent holy land for cultivation outside the world. And a place with a strong concentration of spiritual energy will improve people's mind and is also very helpful for practicing Kung Fu." Mother Su had long noticed the changes in her daughter. When she had the opportunity, she asked, "Daughter, when did you get that adult?" Mother Su was naturally talking about Chen Yi and Su Jiqian. Su Jiqian was also a little shy after hearing her mother's words. Although she had no feelings for her junior sisters talking about this matter, she was her mother after all, so she was still a little shy when talking about it. "Well, probably some time ago." Su Jiqian blushed, lowered her head and said, her appearance was not as charming as usual, but she looked a little reserved and cute. She didn't want to hide anything about her and her master, and there was no need to hide it. "Although I was a little shy to tell my biological parents, I still said it." After Su's mother learned the news, her expression became obviously excited. The population of demon race used to be tens of thousands, but now there are only a few dozen of them left. She was very happy to be able to add a new population to the demon race and restore the race. And what makes her even more happy is that the child born from the union of her daughter and the sect master is definitely a top genius. If demon race can produce another genius, it will definitely be a great thing to revive the glory of the race. However, the human race is pregnant for 10 months, and the human monks are pregnant for even longer, usually many years. As a demon race, Su Jiqian's pregnancy time is even longer, and the more unnatural the quality of the baby's spiritual root is, the pregnancy time will increase exponentially. If it is the heir of that adult, it may take decades or hundreds of years. But the life of a monk is extremely long, so what if he waits for 100 years? Mother Su had given birth to Su Jiqian, so she naturally knew a lot about this kind of thing. She told Su Jiqian a lot of things to pay attention to, telling her to take care of herself and not to make any mistakes. Su Jiqian also rubbed her belly thoughtfully and smiled. Is she going to be pregnant with Master's child? Just thinking about it made her happy. After Su Jiqian wrote down her mother's instructions, she planned to go back to find her master. At this time, Chen Yi was surrounded by a group of succubus disciples. The scent of succubi that permeated the surroundings was almost enough to cause fantasy in his vision. The succubus aura can create illusions that control those affected. However, generally if it is not released deliberately, the effect is not that obvious. But once the number of people increases, it will be difficult to say. At this moment, Chen Yi only felt as if he had stabbed the succubus nest, whether he was leaving or staying. After all, he was the one who said he wanted to guide all the disciples in their practice. It would be disrespectful to the sect master if he just left without saying anything. But he can't really help his lovely disciples solve the problem of evil spirits entering their bodies, right? At this moment, a slight cough suddenly came from not far away. Cough. The person who made this sound was Su Jiqian. As soon as she finished the conversation with her mother, she discovered that her sisters were seducing the master. She immediately had a bad feeling in her heart and hurried over. With her cough, the other succubus disciples all moved out of the way. Su Jiqian has the highest status in the demon race and is the direct disciple of the sect leader. Naturally, others dare not make her angry. Under the gaze of everyone, she came to Master's side and hugged Master's arm tightly. It looks like he is declaring his sovereignty. She knows these sisters of her own race best. All of them are young men with stunning looks, and if they are released, they can make the men outside fascinated. Master's words are even more irresistible. You have to watch it. Master, let's go back. Su Jiqian raised her head and said to the master with a smile. When Chen Yi saw the energetic look of the inner disciples just now, he also gave up his worries. It seems that he is recovering well, so he doesn't need to worry anymore. As for practice, the demon race basic exercises provided by the system are simple and easy to learn. In addition, they have elders who teach them personally, so there will be no problems. Since there was nothing wrong, Chen Yi didn't stay any longer. Chen Yi nodded, then waved to Father Su and Mother Su and said, Then I'll come back another day, and you should pay more attention to your health. Chen Yi's words to pay more attention to your health were actually meant for Su's father. In fact, when Chen Yi met Su's father for the first time, he discovered a problem. Even Su's mother looked very energetic and had the temperament of a 30-year-old mature woman, while Su's father looked like he was 70 or 80 years old. Moreover, his upper lip is thicker, his eyes are a little distracted, and he is obviously mentally and physically exhausted. At first, Chen Yi thought it was because he had been locked up in the dungeon for a long time. Coming to the profound heaven sect, where the aura concentration is so strong, I should have recovered. But obviously, still not. Mother Su was able to give birth to such a beautiful daughter as Su Jiqian, and her own appearance was also extremely good. Now demon race lacks population and is in urgent need of manpower. When Chen Yi thought of this, he could guess almost exactly. Father-in-law still needs to pay attention to moderation. I'll find some supplements for him and send them to him another day. All the succubus disciples looked at Su Jiqian holding the master's hand and slowly leaving, their hearts full of envy. It would be great if they could be so close to the handsome lord. Ever since they met the sect leader, they felt that the men of the same clan were simply incompetent. They are already looking forward to the next visit of the sect leader. Many succubus disciples have already begun to plan their own dirty ideas in their hearts. It is estimated that it is a bit difficult for Father Su and Mother Su to restore the glory of their race. The disciples bowed respectfully in the direction Chen Yi left. Chen Yi slowly left under the gaze of everyone. On the way back, Su Jiqian put her arm around Hu Juyu's neck and asked, Junior sister Hu, why didn't you look at Master just now? Master only belongs to the two of us, you know. If Su Jiqian had been with Master just now, she would not have given anyone else the chance to get close to Master. But Hu Juyu was very quiet, as if she didn't see him. Hu Juyu was thoughtful as she listened to Senior Sister Su's words. Not long ago, when they first went to the Demonic Cultivator Club, Senior Sister Su said, "You are also Master's Taoist companion." She didn't react at the time. This time, the Senior Sister said, "Master belongs only to the two of them." Only then did Hu Juyu realize that something was wrong. What Senior Sister Su means by this is that she has been with her master for a long time. How come you don't know? She always thought she was the first. Wait a minute, Senior Sister Su, when will you meet Master? Hu Juyu did not answer Senior Sister Su's question, but asked instead. Su Jiqian was also a little confused when she heard Junior Sister Hu's words. What, Junior Sister Hu has been kept in the dark all this time? She thought Junior Sister Hu had known about it for a long time. I did it this time, if I had known I had hidden it for a while. Su Jiqian frowned in embarrassment. Ahaha, it turns out you just knew. Probably, a few days ahead of you. As Su Jiqian spoke, she still felt a little guilty. After all, she has been secretly eating from Junior Sister Hu. This behavior is not very ethical. But according to her understanding of Junior Sister Hu, Junior Sister Hu probably wouldn't be too angry. He won't chase her and fight like Junior Sister Lang did. Junior Sister Hu is better, she is gentle and lovely. No wonder Junior Sister Lang has never been able to win the title of Master. Lang Luoli, who was meditating for a breakthrough, sneezed. Her sneeze turned into little snowflakes, floating in the air. Lang Luoli, it must be the Senior Sister who is speaking ill of her behind her back again. Hu Juyu's reaction was indeed what Su Jiqian thought. Although she felt a little disappointed, there was no big fluctuation. However, she couldn't calm down for a long time because she just discovered this. It seems that Senior Sister Lang has known about it for a long time, but she has just found out. Has she always been so stupid? Impossible, absolutely impossible. Hu Juyu was thinking. She raised her head and asked her master. Master, is Yue stupid? When Chen Yi heard her suddenly ask this, his expression was a little surprised. But when it comes to whether Hu Juyu is stupid or not, Chen Yi thinks it depends on which aspect. In terms of practice, Hu Juyu's comprehension ability is not bad, which shows that she is not stupid at all. But in other aspects, it is indeed a bit strong. This is typical, use your brain where it should be used. But no matter what, Chen Yi definitely wanted to comfort his lovely disciple. Of course Yue is not stupid, why do you ask this suddenly? When Hu Juyu heard her master's affirmation, she hugged his master's arm with satisfaction. If the master says she is not stupid, then she is not stupid. There is no way the master can lie to her. Seeing the happiness on her face, Chen Yi couldn't help but secretly thought, these three disciples are so easy to coax. At this time, Chen Yi noticed from the corner of his eye that Bai Yahweh had been playing with something in his hand after coming out of the Demonic Cultivator department. Chen Yi asked curiously, "Where, what's that in your hand?" When Bai Yahweh heard the master's words, she spread her soft little hands. Inside is a purple pill. The quality looks good, but its efficacy is unknown. She replied to the master. A succubus girl gave it to me just now. The young lady said I was so cute, so she gave me a gift. But she said that the effect of this medicine will only last for 20 minutes. The ability is, I forgot. Here you go, master. While saying this, Bai Ya smiled and handed the elixir to Chen Yi, wanting to give it to him. Chen Yi did not accept it and waved his hand. Since it's a gift for you, you should keep it and don't lose it. I have to say that Bai Ya's cuteness is liked by people everywhere. And girls are even more irresistible to this cute appearance. Well, boys too. As for the use of the elixir, Chen Yi didn't look into it carefully. There is no disciple in the sect that Chen Yi cannot trust, and there is no one in the sect that he cannot trust. So this gift must not be anything bad. Chen Yi didn't take it to heart. After a brief interlude, Master Chen Yi and his disciples returned to Tianxuan Hall. In the center of Tianxuan Palace Square, Lang Luoli's breakthrough has obviously reached a critical stage. Around Lang Luoli, the spiritual power turned into reality, surging and rolling. There were even large snowflakes emerging from near her and falling on her body. A biting cold wind blew around, and the weather seemed to be entering winter at this moment. Lang Luoli's icy beauty's temperament was highlighted to the extreme at this moment. What is somewhat contrasting is that even in this environment, Lang Luoli only wore a blue gauze dress. If he hadn't known that Lang Luoli was a monk, Chen Yi would have stepped forward and put on some clothes in fear of her getting cold. Soon, the aura around Lang Luoli began to riot, and the snowflakes that fell on her head were suddenly scattered. Obviously the breakthrough was successful and the realm reached the innate realm 4th layer. In Chen Yi's mind, he also received the reminder of his disciple's breakthrough and obtained 2,000 system points. Seeing junior sister Lang's breakthrough, Su Jiqian suddenly had a bad feeling in her heart. Normally junior sister Lang is one level above her, but she is already beaten by her. This time, he broke through another level, surpassing her by 2. Now I'm afraid she won't be able to fight back. Why would you secretly eat it in front of junior sister Lang from now on? She has to practice hard and surpass junior sister Lang. Thinking of this, Su Jiqian imagined a scene in which her realm surpassed that of junior sister Lang. She was talking to her master in front of junior sister Lang, but junior sister Lang could only hold her ice staff tightly, helpless, and her teeth were itching with anger. Su Jiqian smiled brightly when she thought of that scene. Others practice to become stronger and pursue immortality, but Su Jiqian only practices to steal food openly. At this time, Lang Luoli woke up after breaking through. As soon as she opened her eyes, she saw her senior sister's winning smile. That expression, no matter how you look at it, it looks like you are not holding back any good things. We must teach the senior sister who only has bad ideas in her head and only knows how to steal food. Lang Luoli condensed her ice staff, and while stroking the staff with her delicate jade hands, she said to her senior sister with a smirk. Senior sister, you shouldn't refuse junior sister's request for sparring. Don't worry, I'm just practicing with my junior sister, junior sister. I'm sure, I won't, I'll be cruel. Lang Luoli specially added the accent to these last few words. Su Jiqian was so frightened at this moment that she felt like the hairs on her hair were almost standing on end. She thought Lang Luoli was angry because she found out that she had climbed into Master's window in the middle of the night and ate something. She quickly explained, Junior sister Lang, please listen to my explanation. The last time I climbed into Master's window next to the grass was an accident. Besides, junior sister who also ate it secretly, you can't just teach me a lesson. Lang Luoli was stunned when she heard what her senior sister said. Then his expression became more ferocious and terrifying. What, you actually ate it behind my back? That's the time we all laughed last time. What's even more hateful is that you actually want to use poor junior sister who is a shield. Do you think I will believe it? Hearing junior sister Lang's words, Su Jiqian quickly covered her mouth. Oops, I spilled the beans. Turns out that's not what happened. But then again, why doesn't junior sister Lang believe her when she tells the truth? What she said is true, junior sister who really ate it. Before Su Jiqian could respond, Lang Luoli took the lead and bowed to her. Sister, I'm sorry. This is humility before taking action. Strong pressure enveloped Su Jiqian, and junior sister Lang was obviously much stronger than before. Judging from Su Jiqian's current speed, I'm afraid she won't be able to escape at all. Suddenly, Su Jiqian saw Bai Yahweh beside her. With Bai Yahweh's speed, only Master can catch up with him in this profound heaven sect. As long as she can convince junior sister Bai, she still has hope. She grabbed Bai Yahweh's shoulder with one hand and said pleadingly, It's too late to explain, junior sister Bai, senior sister's survival depends on you. Take me and run. Bai Yahweh didn't know what senior sister Su and senior sister Lang were up to. But looking at the pleading expression on senior sister Su's face, she did not refuse. Are you going to play with your junior sister? Then senior sister Su has caught it, I'm going to start running. As soon as Bai Yahweh finished speaking, she heard a swish and disappeared directly, leaving only afterimages and Su Jiqian's screams. Lang Luo Liu held the ice staff in her hand, her expression turned red, she was angry this time. Senior sister, you're so arrogant. We can't bring innocent junior sister Bai into trouble with us. Stop. Lang Luoli let out a sweet cry, immediately jumped into the air, and chased in the direction where the two disappeared. Bai Yawei stepped on the air with her foreclaws and flew into the air. Lang Luoli was not far behind her. The three of them passed through the majestic and solemn Tianxuan Palace, and also passed by the demonic cultivator department. The surroundings are filled with rich white spiritual energy. On the mountain next to the profound heaven sect, the golden temple on the top of the mountain reflects the bright golden light. At the foot of the mountain, there is an unobstructed view of the profound heaven sect, the domineering sword cultivation department, the alchemy department with a faint smoke rising, and the forging department that is as hot as a furnace. Buildings of different styles and colors spread out to the surroundings with Tianxuan Hall as the center. This scene is as beautiful as a picture, but unfortunately, there are 3 blemishes in this picture. Lang Luoli chased behind senior sister Su and Bai Yawei, unleashing the ice-falling technique, wreaking havoc on this beautiful scenery. If Profound Heaven Sect hadn't been able to repair itself, I'm afraid there would only be ruins left here. In the end, it was Chen Yi who captured the 3 disciples again. Lang Luoli is the fastest among the disciples to break through the realm. Chen Yi feels that as his master, he needs to praise her, so as to set an example to her other lazy disciples. Second disciple, you have the fastest breakthrough, so my master has decided to reward you. If you have any wishes or things you want, you can mention them to my teacher, and my teacher will try his best to satisfy you. Chen Yi smiled and said to Lang Luoli. The other disciples looked at Lang Luoli with envy. Sure enough, if you practice hard, you will get good fruits. None of them have received rewards from their master. Lang Luoli pursed her lips at this time, feeling extremely excited. Will there be any rewards? What she wants, what does she want? She just wants it now, wants it. Yes, I want it. But can this wish really be made to master? She has never competed with her senior sister. This time, she must seize this opportunity for a reward. A fierce comeback. But now that the senior and junior sisters are here, even if she expresses her wish, the master may not accept it. You can talk about it when no one else is around. Master, I have indeed always had a wish, and I have wanted it for a long time. But not now, disciple, can we talk about it another day? While she was speaking, her smooth legs couldn't help but move together, and her delicate face turned red. Chen Yi thought she hadn't thought about it yet, so he nodded in agreement. After all, the gift the second disciple wants must be related to cultivation. In this case, you really need to think about it carefully. Okay, it's time to practice. Come to the square with master. After such a long delay, the practice of the 4 masters and disciples finally began. When a monk's realm reaches the acquired realm, it is very easy to exhale and practice spiritual power, just like breathing. Therefore, most of their practice is to hone their own skills and moves. When they become proficient in the moves, they will also improve their realm. Each department of Profound Heaven Sect will have a unique practice room to provide monks with that type of practice. But in Tianxuan Hall, the square is their training room, which is comprehensive and practical. The time of practicing is like writing a code, it goes by very fast. In a blink of an eye, it was midnight. Chen Yi's direct disciples retained the habit of resting at night. Monks in the innate realm can often go without rest for a long time, but in order to maintain optimal energy, they still need a small amount of sleep. Moreover, the spiritual energy in Tianxuan Hall is extremely full. Even when they are sleeping, they will unconsciously inhale spiritual energy to help them improve their realm. This is very unfair to outside monks. Others may go without sleep for months in order to improve their realm. Moreover, the speed of improvement cannot keep up with the speed of these 4 disciples practicing while sleeping. But life is full of unfairness, right? After Bai Ya's transformation, she may not have fully adapted to human life, so she always couldn't sleep at night. The closer it gets to night, the more energetic she becomes. After dancing on the eaves, I jumped on the ground. After inspecting the Tianxuan Hall, I inspected the Profound Heaven Sect. Just need to mark the territory. In the evening, Bai Yawei lay down on the eaves of the Master's Hall in boredom. Holding the elixir given by the succubus lady in his hand, he was thoughtful. She had forgotten what the medicinal effect was, but since it was given by someone whom Master trusted, it must not be a bad thing. Just try it and you'll know. Bai Yahweh put the pill into her mouth, and it quickly dissolved in her mouth. Waited for a while. She didn't feel the slightest change. Seeing no change, she thought it was some ordinary elixir to increase her cultivation, and didn't take it to heart. She stood up and planned to change places and continue licking her hair. But just as she stood up, she was suddenly startled. No, 12 out of 10 is wrong. Why did the distance between her eyes and the ground become so far? Feeling something strange, she raised her legs again and found that her legs had also become longer. Just like senior sister Lang's, she is fair and slender, and makes her drool at the sight. Soon, she reacted. She has gotten taller. So this is what Miss Succubus's elixir does. Now that she has become taller, can she reach the master without relying on the senior sisters? Wow, thinking of this, she couldn't wait anymore. Chapter 71. She had seen her senior sisters kissing her master before, but she couldn't touch them, so she was already very anxious. Although she can also transform into the original monster form, not only can she reach the master, but she can also be higher than the senior sisters stacked together. But can master accept her in the form of a monster? But no matter what, she has become a great beauty now. She remembered that the medicine was only effective for 20 minutes, so she had to hurry up. Thinking in her heart, Bai Yahweh jumped off the roof. For some reason, she used to be able to handle this height easily, but now she fell hard. It seems that she is still not used to her increased height, and her expression is a bit paralyzed. It may be that the grade of the elixir is not good enough, that's why it's like this. But at least it allowed her to experience the feeling of getting taller, and these shortcomings were all worth it. Bai Yahweh stood up again, and right in front of her was senior sister Su's room. An idea suddenly struck her. Now she has become as beautiful as senior sister Su. She must share this joy with senior sister Su. Thinking in her mind, she quickly came to senior sister Su's window. Su Jiqian was currently facing the mirror on the dressing table, sorting out her makeup for tomorrow. She is always like this. She likes to study some different styles before going to bed, ready to show to master tomorrow. Let master see her most beautiful all the time. But what she doesn't know is that in Chen Yi's eyes, it doesn't matter whether she wears makeup or not. It's not that Chen Yi doesn't know how to appreciate it, it's that Su Jiqian's foundation is so great and she's so beautiful to the core. The window where Bai Yahweh was standing was right behind Su Jiqian. She waved her hand to Su Jiqian, wanting to say hello. But she unexpectedly discovered that she couldn't seem to speak. Perhaps due to the change in body shape, her vocal cords also changed, causing her to be unable to speak for a while. The side effects of this elixir are a bit severe. Su Jiqian was combing her hair in front of the mirror. Suddenly I saw a woman with gray hair in the mirror, her body still covered with dirt and dust, stiff, smiling and waving to her. Seeing this scene, Su Jiqian felt her hair standing on end and quickly looked back. But as soon as he turned around, the white-haired woman who was supposed to be standing by the window disappeared. Su Jiqian, quote exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. Who is that person? Hello. Bai Yahweh. No, she's not that tall. None of her demon race tribesmen have gray hair. Although Tianshuan Palace is quiet today, there are probably no ghosts. Maybe I saw it wrong. Su Jiqian was not checking and continued to arrange her hair. At this time, Bai Ya lowered her head slightly and patted the dust on her clothes. She fell from the roof just now, and her clothes were all dirty. There seemed to be a few cuts on his face, and the blood slowly flowed a little at this time. Bai Yahweh patted it a few times, but couldn't get it clean, so she stopped doing it and planned to go back and wash it. She raised her head again and waved hello to Su Jiqian. At this moment, Su Jiqian was just finishing her makeup in front of the mirror. Looking at the woman in white who appeared again at the window, the woman's face was still full of blood, coupled with that stiff expression and weird smile. No, there is really a ghost. Su Jiqian recalled the people she had killed. There were hundreds if not thousands, and it was not surprising that a few came to seek her life. Although she is not afraid of people, she is still a little wary of unknown ghosts. But as a monk, she is not timid. She was frightened at first because the white-haired woman appeared so suddenly. Now that I think about it, my first reaction is to attack. She turned back suddenly, intending to release the devil's palm and strike it out to see if it would hurt the ghost. But when she looked back again, the woman in white had disappeared. Strange, I am entangled by some enemy. Although I'm not afraid, I am always being pestered and there is danger. Su Jiqian was worried. She felt insecure and couldn't sleep well. She decided not to sleep today and was ready to deal with the sudden death-seeking ghost at any time. Seeing that senior sister Su ignored her, Bai Yue felt bored and left. Next to Hu Juyu's room, she wanted to see what senior sister Hu was doing. Senior sister Hu usually likes to play with her the most. She will be very happy after learning that she has become taller. Hu Juyu was wrapped in a quilt and sleeping peacefully, half asleep and half awake. Her sleeping face was very honest, her breathing was even, and her delicate face looked elegant and noble even when she was sleeping. There is a window beside Hu Juyu's bed. The moonlight just shines on her face, and she likes to sleep in the moonlight the most. So I never draw the curtains or close the windows. Bai Yue came to senior sister Hu's window, put her hands on the window, and leaned her head in. Seeing senior sister Hu sleeping, she wanted to say hello. This time she actually made a sound, but it was very hoarse, not like her previous voice. It may be that the side effects of the medicine were offset a little by her, so she could make a sound. Senior sister Hu. Look at me, look at me. Am I beautiful? The voice was extremely hoarse, as if his throat had been cut with a knife. Hu Juyu was already half asleep and not fully asleep. Hearing this voice, she frowned. She was originally dreaming, and when she heard this voice, her dream gradually changed due to external influences. She was originally being held by Master in her dream. But suddenly the dream changed, and countless white-haired evil spirits appeared and rushed towards her. Hu Juyu woke up suddenly, with cold sweat on her forehead. When Hu Juyu woke up, she took a deep breath and realized that it was just a dream. But when she learned that it was a dream, she was a little disappointed. Although the dream is a bit scary, at least the first half is good. After Hu Juyu woke up, she opened her eyes and planned to drink water before continuing to sleep. But as soon as she opened her eyes, she saw a thin white hand held by the window. Looking up, there is a white-haired woman with a bloody cheek, pale skin, stiff face, and a scary smile reflected in the moonlight. The stiff smile of the white-haired woman does not look like a terrifying expression that a human being can show. Although Hu Juyu's character is not considered cowardly, her reaction to seeing a ghost for the first time was not much better than that of the senior sister. Not to mention I just had a nightmare. She tremblingly summoned her giant sword, swung it with a frightened expression, and slashed towards the window. No matter what the opponent is, although she is afraid, she cannot be timid. Otherwise, how can we be worthy of Master's teachings? Bai Yue saw the always kind-hearted senior sister Hu suddenly attacking her, her face full of confusion. She quickly flew away, and the giant sword grazed her scalp, almost killing her. Bai Yue looked at the huge sword marks on the ground and felt a moment of fear. Good guy, why is senior sister Hu so angry when she wakes up? She'd better not disturb senior sister Hu's sleep in the future. After bidding farewell to senior sister Hu, Bai Yue walked listlessly towards Lang Luoli's house. The two senior sisters ignored her, and one of them actually attacked her. But fortunately, senior sister Lang is still here. Although senior sister Lang is usually cold, she is actually very warm inside, she can feel it. Senior sister Lang will definitely comfort her. Thinking in her mind, she came to senior sister Lang's window. It was extremely cold in senior sister Lang's room, and Bai Yue shivered unconsciously. She looked inside curiously, wanting to see what senior sister Lang was doing. It was so cold in the room. Lang Luoli did not fall asleep, but sat at the table like Su Jiqian. But she was sitting at the table, not dressing up, but fiddling with things. There is a piece of ice placed on the table, and Lang Luoli is using her spiritual power to shape it, constantly reducing the size of it, as if she is carving it. At this time, it was half finished. Bai Yue could see that she was carving a person. What can be seen from the upper body is Master's face. She could also notice that there were many ice sculptures of Master placed on the ground beside the table. There are big ones, small ones, and different movements. The reason why the room was so cold was probably because Lang Luoli was worried that the ice sculpture would melt. By Yahweh didn't expect Senior Sister Lang to have this hobby. Moreover, the carvings are also very exquisite, and Senior Sister Lang's hands are unexpectedly skillful. Seeing Senior Sister Lang carving so intently, By Yahweh was too embarrassed to disturb her. She just watched quietly. Soon after, Lang Luoli finished carving. She looked at the statue of Master with a satisfied look on her face. She held the Master's statue in her arms, looking intoxicated. After enjoying it enough, she planned to put the statue somewhere else. She came to the window and planned to put it in front of the window. As soon as she put the statue down, she raised her head and found a pale face staring at her. The face was twisted together due to being frozen. In addition, due to the side effects of the elixir, the face was somewhat paralyzed and the expression became even weirder. Lang Luoli didn't really recognize this face. She immediately frowned and scolded. "Who are you? Why do you appear in Tianxuan Palace?" Seeing that Senior Sister Su didn't recognize her, By Yahweh wanted to open her mouth to explain. But the movement coming out of that hoarse voice didn't sound like talking at all. More like the roar of a monster. When Lang Luoli saw this, she thought it was a monster roaring at her. He immediately took out the ice staff and snorted coldly. What kind of monsters dare to come to Tianxuan Palace to act recklessly? Want to steal my ice sculpture? Don't even think about it. With that said, she formed an ice spike and stabbed it towards By Yahweh. By Yahweh's whole body trembled when she saw this, and she quickly dodged to avoid it. What's going on today? Why are all the senior sisters so irritable? Besides, who wants to steal your ice sculpture? Don't think too much. Lang Luoli, who was inside the house, saw that he had not attacked the monster, so he opened the door and chased him out. No monster dares to come to Tianxuan Palace to run wild. This will make you immortal forever. After saying that, she was about to release the ice falling technique. She was not frightened like Hu Juyu and Su Jiqian. Her first reaction when seeing the ghost was to get rid of it. I have to say that this reaction is what a monk should have. But the problem is, it has to be a real monster. When By Yahweh saw Senior Sister Lang chasing after her, she was so frightened that she jumped up and ran away. Why did Senior Sister Lang react so strongly? He looks like he won't give up until he kills her. Master, help! She wanted to shout out to her master for help, but her hoarse voice couldn't reach her far. She had no choice but to run towards the master's hall. You actually want to kill my beloved master? Stop! Lang Luoli saw the white-haired monster running in the direction of her master, and her surroundings suddenly became more murderous. The rich ice aura seemed to freeze By Yahweh. Fortunately, By Yahweh practiced the Linglong Zon Gong given by his master and was extremely fast, so he rushed into his master's house before being frozen into an ice sculpture. As soon as she opened the door of Master's room, she immediately rushed towards Master's bed. She hugged Master tightly and said with a tearful voice, "Master, save Ware. Senior sisters are all so weird today. Ware almost died, woohoo." "Master, I'm so scared, woo-woo," By Yahweh said pitifully. At this time, her voice had recovered a lot. The medicine takes effect for only 20 minutes, and the side effects will not last long. Chen Yi was sleeping soundly. Suddenly being hugged tightly, he woke up in a daze. The fragrance of a lowly girl also entered her nose at the same time. Chen Yi looked to the side and saw a very embarrassed white-haired girl hugging her tightly, saying "Master, something." He was a little confused at first, but he could not mistake the fragrance of this white-haired girl. After combining her facial features, it was obvious that she was By Yahweh. "Where? What's wrong? Why did you get yourself so embarrassed?" "Master, I'll wipe it for you. By the way, why did you get taller?" While Chen Yi used spiritual power to clean her wounds, he gently stroked her head and comforted her. By Yahweh felt the warm embrace of her master, and then she felt comfortable and felt a little sense of security. Sure enough, no matter who changes, the gentle master will not change. They were all as gentle and handsome as the first time she saw them, which made her want to stop. She likes master the most. His smell, master's chest, every part of master. Thinking of this, By Yahweh felt a little unbearable. She put her slender legs on the master's body like a pillow. Then he raised his head and pressed his face against hers. Chen Yi only felt the green and astringent aroma exploding in his mouth. By Yahweh hugged her master so tightly, as if she was a white tiger eating its prey. But Bai Yahweh couldn't bear to eat Chen Yi's prey. She wanted to take it bit by bit and taste it slowly. The girl's delicate body was extremely soft at this moment. Bai Yahweh was still wearing the clothes that Master gave her. Because she has grown taller, her figure has also become plumper. This also caused the suit of clothes to be a little overwhelmed. The original white stockings turned into knee-high stockings, and the dress that covered the whole body turned into a navel-bearing dress. The girl's fair and perfect figure was fully exposed, and her soft skin seemed to be dripping with water. Chen Yi subconsciously hugged her waist, grabbed her tightly, and fell in. Before he could enjoy it for long, Chen Yi heard a tapping sound at the door. Chen Yi remembered that he didn't lock the door. Bai Yahweh probably locked the door out of fear when he came in. If that's the case, then it doesn't matter if he kisses you for a while. Chen Yi has not forgotten that Bai Yahweh is also his disciple. Although it is not good to do so. But after all, Bai Yahweh is a monster that has lived for hundreds of years, which also makes him feel a lot less guilty. And the most important thing is that Bai Yahweh's pitiful appearance aroused his protective desire as a man. Bai Yahweh now felt so pity for him that he wished he could hold her in his arms and pamper her well. After a long time, the two separated. Chen Yi looked at the disheveled Bai Yahweh and said, "Your clothes are too small. I'll help you change." After that, Chen Yi changed into clothes suitable for Bai Yahweh's height. Bai Yahweh hugged her master tightly and refused to leave for a long time. She said with a slight pleading, "Master, help me." When Chen Yi learned about this strange request, he actually rejected it in his heart. But when I think about it, Bai Yahweh has just become a human being and may not be familiar with wearing clothes. Since he is a master, he must teach ignorant disciples. Then it would be reasonable to help her put on her clothes, right? Okay, but if you hug me like this, I can't help you. Chen Yi said. When Bai Yahweh heard Master's words, she reluctantly let go of Master, and the two of them stood up. About a few minutes ago, Lang Luoli followed the white-haired female ghost and ran to the Master's door. I knocked on the door several times, but it couldn't be opened at all. She hesitated for a moment. The female ghost is now in Master's room. Master may be in danger. She was now in a dilemma. If you forcefully break the door open, that would not be an ordinary offense to the Master. What if the Master is angry? But if she didn't open the door, she was still worried about her Master's safety. How to do this? At this moment, Su Jiqian and Hu Juyu also walked out of the room. The noise just now was so loud that both of them heard it. When the two of them saw Lang Luoli in front of their master's room, they went up and asked, "Su Jiqian, Junior Sister Lang, what are you doing here? You're still yelling. If you want to steal some food, just keep your voice down. No wonder you haven't been able to eat," she said in a teaching tone, as if she was scolding Lang Luoli. Lang Luoli was furious when she heard what her senior sister said. "You're such a good senior sister, even if you just eat it yourself, you actually have the nerve to teach me a lesson." If there wasn't something more important, she would have to punish her senior sister. That's not the case. I saw a white-haired female ghost enter the master's room. Master may be in danger, Lang Luoli said anxiously. The other two disciples looked at each other with surprise in their eyes. We saw it too. Soon, the three disciples shared their experiences with each other. Knowing that each other had the experience of being attacked by a white-haired female ghost, the faces of the three of them became increasingly nervous. An ordinary ghost actually dared to attack two innate realms and a monk from the acquired realm. This ghost must be full of evil spirits and is a very scary ghost. Hu Juyu was lying at the door, listening to the voices inside, and said, "I didn't hear any fighting. Could it be that Master has been killed? If Master is fighting a female ghost, there will definitely be sounds of fighting inside. Since it doesn't, then it means I can't wait any longer, get out of my way." Lang Luoli felt her heart beat faster when she thought of this terrible possibility. Master is everything to her, the most important thing. Nothing can happen. Even if she offended Master and was punished by Master, she had to do it. She used her spiritual power to create a huge ice block out of thin air and smashed it towards the wooden door. The wooden door collapsed in an instant, and the entire wall shattered with a rumbling sound. For a time, earth and rocks flew and smoke billowed. As soon as the wall was broken, the 3 disciples rushed into the master's room. Where is the female ghost? Where is the female ghost? Don't even think about hurting master. Wait, guys. I'll go, master, you won't even let the female ghost go. When the smoke cleared, Su Jiqian shouted in surprise. The reason why this strange sound came out was because Su Jiqian saw that the master was taking off the clothes of the female ghost. At this time, Chen Yi was helping Bai Yawei change into new clothes. Before she even took off her clothes, she was caught in this scene. Chen Yi's face was covered with black lines at this time. He helped Bai Yawei change clothes twice in total, once when the disciples broke in, and this time he even demolished the wall. Before Chen Yi could explain, the other disciples followed the voice and looked over. Hu Juyu, master, you have really strong taste, but my disciple will understand you. While she was speaking, she crossed her hands on her chest, as if she was praying. I pray that master will not go astray. Lang Luoli's reaction was the most intense among the 3. She almost fell to the ground, her face looking like she was about to cry. She and master have been together for so long, but master has never taken off her clothes. A female ghost can actually do it earlier than her. She was such a failure as a disciple. In the eyes of master, is her beauty inferior to that of a female ghost? Just when everyone thought Chen Yi loved playing ghost, Bai Yawei slowly shrunk under the gaze of everyone. Gradually she returned to her original appearance. The medicine takes effect for only 20 minutes. Calculating the time, it should be the time for the medicine to take effect. The disciples looked at the shrunken female ghost and then reacted. These facial features, this level of cuteness, isn't this their junior sister Bai? Junior sister Bai, what's going on? Lang Luoli asked in surprise. As she spoke, she gradually recalled the scene just now in her mind. Although the white-haired woman looked a little miserable and terrifying, her expression was also a little stiff. But when I think about it carefully, I can vaguely see the appearance of junior sister Bai. To put it this way, master is not playing tricks. When she thought of this, Lang Luoli was still a little happy, and her sense of loss dissipated a lot. It seems that I am not worse than a ghost. After the effects of Bai Yawei's medicine wore off, the side effects gradually disappeared. The sound also returned to normal. Looking at everyone's confused looks, she told them the whole story, and the misunderstanding was solved. After learning the results, the 3 disciples looked a little apologetic. They didn't even recognize junior sister Bai, and they wanted to attack such a cute junior sister. It's really abominable. The 3 disciples took turns to touch Bai Yawei's lovely head and apologized to her. Su Jiqian recognized the pill that junior sister Bai had taken. That is a beauty elixir that only succubi can refine. This elixir will change her appearance according to the idea of taking it. For example, if the user is not very satisfied with her nose, then the nose will become more in line with her idea of what it looks like. The effect of this elixir is very magical, and it can also change other appearances. However, the level of her charm demon race people is not high, so the level of the elixir she can refine must be average. That's why there are side effects. It is estimated that the succubus who gave Bai Yawei the elixir would not have thought that what Bai Yawei wanted most was to become taller. Nor would I have thought of causing such an oolong. Seeing that everyone's concerns were dispelled, Chen Yi said, "Okay, now that the misunderstanding has been cleared, let's go back and rest early. I have to continue practicing tomorrow." After hearing the master's words, the disciples said good night to the master and then left with peace of mind. Chen Yi said goodbye to his disciples and planned to go back to sleep. But he just turned around. Looking at this ruin-like hall, it was full of dust and debris, the bed was also dirty, and tiles were flying everywhere. How can I sleep like this? You made such a big mess, clapped your hands and went back to rest. The cool breeze is going to blow in for the whole night. These disciples of his have truly become traitors this time. The buildings in Profound Heaven Sect will be repaired, but it will take a day, usually refreshing at 0 o'clock. This night, Chen Yi probably wouldn't have his own bed to sleep on. But since he doesn't have his own bed to sleep on, there are other beds he can sleep on. The 3rd disciple has become Taoist companions with him, so it should be reasonable to spend the night there, right? Thinking in his mind, Chen Yi swallowed his saliva and felt a little expectant. Chen Yi quickly walked to the third disciple's house. He first lay down on the window and took a look. The third disciple fell asleep quickly and honestly. As soon as he climbed into bed, he began to breathe evenly. It looked like he was just about to enter a deep sleep. Seeing that the 3 disciples were all asleep, Chen Yi was embarrassed to disturb him for a while. Since the 3 disciples are all asleep, it's best not to disturb them. Let's go to the eldest disciple's house and have a look. Chen Yi murmured, and then walked towards Su Jiqian's house. Hu Juyu probably would never have thought that she missed the great opportunity to have a close relationship with her master because she went to bed too early. If she found out, she would probably regret it to death. Chen Yi pushed open the door of the eldest disciple's room and saw her finishing her makeup. Su Jiqian has just painted her red lips, and her makeup is very beautiful and mature. Are you still putting on makeup so late at night? Chen Yi came to her side, put his hands on her beautiful shoulders and said. Su Jiqian was a little surprised when she felt Master's aura. Master. The reason why she was surprised was because she was the one who usually came to see Master every time. Master actually came to look for her today. Could it be that Master has fallen into her succubus aura and is unable to extricate himself? Master Weiwei was still being manipulated by her. Master, do you want to stay awake so late? Su Jiqian stood up and put her white arms around her master's neck. When Chen Yi heard the eldest disciple's words, he didn't know how to answer for a while. To say that he didn't come here for this is absolutely false. But it's more because he has nowhere to go. Chen Yi pointed out the window at the ruins of his main hall. You demolished my master's palace. When Su Jiqian saw this scene, she remembered. This is indeed a good thing they did. Since she was the one who left Master with nowhere to go, she must be responsible. Disciples, I'm sorry for you. Kaianer is the eldest, let Kaianer atone for the sins of the junior sisters. Hey, this disciple will definitely atone for his sins well. As she spoke, her face moved towards him. Su Jiqian wore knee-high glossy socks on her slender and voluptuous legs. The tops of the glossy socks were embellished with red embroidery. The upper body she wore was a hip-hugging dress that was pushed up to the point of being overwhelmed, which fully highlighted her plump figure and charm. Her body temperature gradually increased due to the kiss, and her expression became a little awkward. After a long time, the two slowly let go. Su Jiqian looked at the master with eyes obsessed with her. Her charming fox eyes seemed to take people's breath away. She said crazily, by the way, why didn't Master go find junior sister Hu? You actually thought of Kaianer first. So Kaianer is Master's favorite disciple. Kaianer is so happy. When Chen Yi heard the eldest disciple's question, his expression suddenly froze. Oops, how should I answer this? He couldn't tell his eldest disciple that he had just gone to see Hu Juyu, but she was sleeping. That's not a good thing to say, right? He was worried that he would break the eldest disciple's heart. Who is Chen Yi's eldest disciple? That is the most outstanding succubus of the demon race clan. When she saw Master's expression, how could she not know what Master was thinking in his heart? Oh, disciple knows everything. Disciple is not angry at all, really. Do you want me, disciple, to call junior sister Hu over now? The 3 of us will go together. Although junior sister Hu is sleeping, she will definitely be very willing to know about it. And, is this a choice? Chen Yi's heartbeat quickened for a moment, and he couldn't help but feel a little expectant. It turns out he doesn't have to choose between the 2. Wait, that's not right. If a woman says she is not angry, how can she really not be angry? The last sentence is obviously trying to trick him. What a risk. I almost got hooked. Chen Yi put one hand around the eldest disciple's waist, hugged her, and said with a serious expression. Why would my teacher have such an idea? It won't happen at all, okay. Su Jiqian looked at the master with a smile, and she didn't know whether she was angry or laughing in her heart. Really, Master will lie to Kaianer. But no matter what Master thinks, don't even think about leaving tonight. She said with a puffy mouth. She wasn't really angry, she just enjoyed teasing Master. Su Jiqian licked her red lips and kissed her master again. Kaianer, your rouge is stuck on it. Quote. It doesn't matter, Kaianer will help Master clean up. Quote. Master, will junior sister Hu also help you clean up your rouge? Chen Yi. That's not true, she didn't paint. Su Jiqian. Okay, master, you told the truth this time. The next day, noon. The sun has risen to its peak, but Chen Yi has not yet appeared in the square to guide his disciples in their practice. Hu Juyu and Lang Luoli started meditating early. The two of them each exercised their own spiritual power. Not long after, Hu Juyu was the first to hold back and opened her beautiful eyes. She said a little disappointed. Master told us to rest early so that we can practice better tomorrow, but Master himself disappeared without a trace. I really want to practice with Master. Without the Master, Hu Juyu felt a little absent-minded even while meditating. She had been looking forward to practicing with the Master for a long time, but the Master did not show up until noon. Lang Luoli also opened her eyes, pointed to the main hall where Master lived and said, I can't blame Master. Master's house is gone, so he probably didn't have a good rest. We still have to practice seriously, so that we can help Master as soon as possible. When she has cultivated to the point where she is stronger than the Master, she can become stronger than the Master, instead of slowly developing. At that time, Master can be at her mercy. More reasons to practice. Of course, Lang Luoli didn't say the last two sentences. But who knows whether Hu Juyu also thinks so in her heart. Hu Juyu heard what senior sister Lang said and felt that what she said made sense. There was no further delay and he continued to practice. At this time, Bai Yahweh was still basking in the sun on the roof. The slender cat tail swayed in the air, spinning a few times from time to time. Her cute little head rested on her soft cat paws, her expression thoughtful. Yesterday, I was chased into Master's room by the senior sisters. Although I could taste Master's scent, I always felt that I had forgotten something. What on earth is going on? While she was remembering, she stretched out her pink tongue and licked her white hair. As soon as she stuck out her tongue, she suddenly remembered something. That's right, she hasn't licked Master's fur yet. Yesterday she got high, and she could obviously lick it, but in the end, she was immersed in Master's scent and forgot about it. She came here to repay her kindness to Master, but she ended up taking advantage of Master over and over again. If she doesn't even help her Master with something as trivial as licking her hair, how can she repay her kindness? Thinking in her mind, she jumped off the eaves in a few cat steps and landed on the ground deftly. Her nose was extremely sensitive, and she could smell that Master was in this room. The windows of this house are open. She didn't open the door, but jumped in directly. Arriving inside the house, her pure white eyebrows wrinkled. His expression was slightly confused. There is something strange in the house. The smell wasn't unpleasant, but she had never smelled it before and felt a little curious. Chen Yi was hugging the succubus wife at this time, and the two were sleeping soundly. To say that I slept soundly, it would be better to say that I just fell asleep not long ago. Bai Yahweh jumped up like a cat and landed on Chen Yi. Chen Yi only felt that something heavy was pressing on him, and it was a little difficult to breathe. But he didn't wake up immediately, he was a little dazed. Bai Yahweh took advantage of this opportunity and slowly stuck out her pink tongue. Just as she was about to stretch her head out, she realized something was wrong. Master doesn't have white hair like her! ! How can I lick this? Obviously, she just discovered this problem. She raised her head and looked at Master's face. There are many on the top of the head, but this one has not been licked. After finding the right direction, Baya smiled and stretched out her pink tongue again. Chen Yi, who was sleeping, slowly frowned. There was a suffocating feeling like a mountain weighing down on him, as if he had encountered a ghost pressing down on his bed. At the same time, I also felt that my nose was blocked by something, making it difficult to breathe. But the difficulty is difficult, the taste is very sweet and delicious. Soon after, he opened his eyes suddenly. What catches the eye is a big pink bow. Chen Yi recognized this bow, which was on Bai Yahweh's long dress. Bai Yahweh's soft white silk feet rested on his body. As soon as Chen Yezhong felt this soft touch, he couldn't help but blush. Bai Yahweh slowly stretched her head back and saw that the Master was already awake, and said with a smile. Good afternoon, Master. Chen Yi. Chen Yi stretched out his hand, grabbed her white neck, and lifted her up. Wire, what are you doing? Bai Yahweh flew into the air, looking very cute, and replied with a smile. Help master do what every monster would do. Comfortable, master. She looked at the master with joy on her face, obviously waiting for the master's praise. At this moment, Chen Yi only felt that his hair was wet, and his forehead was also. Although by Yahweh's, doesn't smell bad, on the contrary, it's a little sweet. But it's sticky and greasy, so it's a little weird. But seeing her expression waiting for praise, Chen Yi was embarrassed to displease her. I could only say with a gentle smile, well, it's very comfortable. But I'm not a monster, so I don't need to, lick my fur. But your kindness is appreciated by my teacher. Thank you. Su Jiqian beside her heard the conversation between the two and slowly woke up. Master, good morning, Su Jiqian said lazily. Her soft voice when she first got up was also very pleasant to the ear. Chen Yi replied softly, well, it's good for you too, but it's already noon, Kyaner. Su Jiqian rubbed her eyes and looked aside. Hey, is it already noon? You, what are you doing? She suddenly showed a puzzled expression. Bai Yahweh struggled in the master's hand for a while, and finally fell between the two of them. She held Su Jiqian with her soft hands and said with a smile. I'm asking master to get up. When Su Jiqian heard her words, she smiled softly. Junior sister Bai must have retained the habits of the monster and wanted to help everyone, so she did this. Junior sister Bai, this is too cute. Su Jiqian smiled and rubbed her head. At the same time, he rested his head on the master's shoulder with satisfaction. The first thing she saw when she woke up in the morning was the handsome master, which made her feel very happy. At this time, 3 people were lying on the bed, with Bai Yahweh in the middle, Chen Yi and Su Jiqian on both sides. They look very much like a couple with their adorable child. The CP feeling is full. After Chen Yi woke up briefly, he started to get up and tidy up. While Su Jiqian was changing clothes, she also helped junior sister Bai tidy up her look. Soon the 3 of them opened the door and walked out together. Come to the square. Lang Luoli was meditating, and when she felt the master's appearance, she opened her beautiful eyes and said hello happily. Hello, master. Wait, why are senior sisters together? As soon as she said hello, she noticed something unusual. Yes, why didn't she think of it just now? Master lost his sleeping place, so where did master spend the night? Could it be that he spent the night in senior sister's room? Since they all spent the night together, it's self-evident what happened. Soon, she saw her master holding Bai Yahweh's hand. Seeing Bai Yahweh together, Lang Luoli suddenly calmed down. Based on her understanding of senior sister, even if senior sister is open, she shouldn't do it in front of junior sister Bai. In other words, if junior sister Bai spent the night with them yesterday, nothing should have happened to them. Just simply took a nap. Thinking of this, Lang Luoli breathed a sigh of relief. If she just sleeps and rests, she can still accept it. Lang Luoli, who deceives herself and others, has increased. Chen Yi looked a little embarrassed when he looked at the disciples who got up early to practice. The disciples are working so hard in cultivation, but he, the master, is slacking off. Chen Yi said with an apologetic expression. I'm sorry for wasting everyone's time. Let's start practicing. I will guide you personally. It was already noon, and he felt that he needed to seize the time to guide everyone in their practice. Hu Juyu stood up at this time, and she took Chen Yi's hand. His expression was full of care and worry, and he said seriously. Master, there is no need to apologize. It's all because of UAA that the owner lost his house. Master must have not rested yet. There is no need to worry about cultivation. Master, please come to UAA's room to rest for a while first. Just think of it as UAA compensating you. Hu Juyu learned that her master actually spent the night in her senior sister's room, and she felt extremely envious. Why doesn't the master come to her? Could it be that in the master's heart, she is not as attractive as her senior sister? But no matter what her image is in her master's heart, she will always love and cherish her master. Chen Yi wanted to reject her words, but wanted to say that compensation or something was no longer needed. After all, last night, the eldest disciple really took their place and made severe compensation. But Chen Yi has always been unable to refuse the sincere gazes of his disciples. Okay then, I'll go with you to have a look, my master. As soon as the camera turned, the disciples and Chen Yi came to Hu Juyu's room. Hu Juyu's room has the aroma of sandalwood, which makes it look elegant and noble. There are some jewelry placed on the table, which are arranged very neatly. There are also some princess-like costumes in the cabinet, and the patterns on the skirts are very delicately embroidered. But she rarely wears this kind of clothes. Most of the time she wears the maid outfit she is most satisfied with. The quilt on her bed was folded without any wrinkles, and the whole room was in order. Seeing this scene, Chen Yi had to praise her. Because after seeing Su Jiqian's room, it was really incomparable. In Su Jiqian's room, things like rouge were in a mess on the table, and the stockings she had chosen were scattered everywhere on the bed. But some of them were taken off by Chen Yi for her. Chen Yi rubbed Hu Juyu's head and praised. Well, it's very nice and neat. Hu Juyu was very happy to be praised by her master. She smiled and hugged her master's neck, and kissed her master's cheek beautifully. Then if master has no place to go tonight, can he come to Yua's room to spend the night? Chen Yi. Well, he wanted to say that the house would be repaired today, but there was no need. But seeing the third disciple's excited expression, he was really speechless. Lang Luoli watched junior sister Hu's intimate behavior from the side, and doubts gradually arose in her heart. When did junior sister Hu become so bold and start hugging master's neck in front of everyone? Based on her understanding of junior sister Hu, she would never have dared to do so before. Strangeness. Lang Luoli didn't want to give up this good opportunity to her junior sister. She stepped forward and took her master's hand and said, Master, come and see Lear's room too. Although she felt it was unethical to snatch this opportunity with her junior sister. But if she doesn't take action, she may not know when she will have a chance. Just let junior sister Hu wait. Chen Yi adhered to the principle of looking at one thing and looking at two things, so he followed Lang Luoli and walked over. Arriving at Lang Luoli's room, Chen Yi felt the temperature around him drop sharply. Why is it so cold? Lear, what do you put in your room? Although Chen Yi is not afraid of the cold, he can still feel the temperature changes. He immediately released his spiritual power to help himself and the other disciples offset the cold. When Lang Luoli heard the master's words, her expression suddenly changed and she looked slightly panicked. She herself couldn't feel the slightest bit of cold. So when I go to bed recently, I always hold master's ice sculpture in my arms. Normally, she would hide the ice sculpture during the day until the indoor temperature returned to normal. After all, she didn't want others to discover that she had this hobby. If anyone else found out, she would die of shame, not even master. At this moment, Chen Yi was about to open the door and go in to take a look. Lang Luoli suddenly stepped forward and blocked the master's movement. He said in a panic, Teacher, master, wait a minute, my room might be a little messy. I'll go in and clean up first, and you'll come in later. Before Chen Yi could reply, Lang Luoli quickly opened the door and got in. She also locked the door to prevent outsiders from entering. Seeing that senior sister Su was looking in from the window with curiosity on her face, she even closed the curtains. Really, senior sister, why are you so curious about everything? It's so dangerous. If my senior sister finds out, she will definitely laugh at me. Lang Luoli became extremely angry when she thought of her senior sister's mean expression. Find an opportunity to teach senior sister a lesson. Su Jiqian, what did I do to me? Lang Luoli looked at the ice sculpture of master placed on the ground and felt a little panicked for a moment. She accidentally and unknowingly carved so many. Now everyone is waiting outside. Where should these ice sculptures be placed? You can't destroy it all. She carved these out one by one, and she can't bear to let them go. And it's master's ice sculpture. Anyone who dares to destroy it will risk their lives. Just when Lang Luoli was panicking, she saw her big wardrobe. This is simply her life-saving straw. Lang Luoli opened the closet and stuffed all the statues inside. Then she opened the door and welcomed everyone in. Everything is sorted. Master, you can come in. While she was speaking, her breathing was somewhat rapid, and she was obviously nervous, as if she was worried about something. Chen Yi walked in curiously, looked at the neat room, and praised. It's already very clean. Is there anything to tidy up? Lang Luoli's sheets and bedding were both ice blue and neatly laid out on the bed, not stacked together. There are also some ice blue earrings and necklaces on the table. Although they are very beautiful, the color scheme of the entire room is ice blue, which makes it look quite monotonous. Chen Yi walked to the table, took out an earring, and helped Lang Luoli put it on. Also praised, "This should look good on you." Lang Luoli looked at Master in surprise, her earlobe still had Master's warmth. Master just praised her for her beauty. It seems that even senior sister has never been praised by Master. This is a special treat just for her. Lang Luoli hugged her master excitedly and buried her face in his arms with a smile. Master and so on, the most perfect. It would be great if she could sleep with her master in her arms all day long instead of being a cold ice sculpture. At this time, Lang Luoli hugged her master and turned her back to her wardrobe. Su Jiqian wandered around the house, looking here and there. She said to herself, "Usually junior sister Lang is very mysterious and won't let us enter the room to have a look. I thought there was some shocking secret in junior sister Lang's room, but it turned out there was nothing. By the way, junior sister Lang, is there only blue in your room? Senior sister, let's see if your clothes are only blue." As she spoke, she came to the closet and was about to open the closet door. Lang Luoli was hugging her master and had no intention of paying attention to this senior sister. But suddenly she heard her senior sister mention the wardrobe, and she frowned and her face changed drastically. She turned around immediately to stop her senior sister. If Master knew that she secretly carved so many ice sculptures of Master, he would definitely say that she is a perverted disciple. If the time comes when the Master dislikes her and expels her, the consequences could be disastrous. But she was one step late after all. As soon as Su Jiqian opened the closet door, countless ice sculptures spewed out like a mountain. She was directly pressed inside and collapsed to the ground. And Lang Luoli, who realized everything was exposed, also lost her legs and fell to the ground. Her face was extremely red, her mouth opened like a wave, and her shyness reached its peak. It's over, everything is over. How could Chen Yi know what the second disciple was thinking? He walked forward, picked up an ice sculpture, and looked at it carefully. As the one engraved on his master, it looks very similar. I didn't expect Lear to have this skill, it's very good. Chen Yi picked up a few more statues while watching. Are all the carvings for Master? Actually, if Lear has this hobby, she can also remember other people for a moment. After listening to Master's words, Lang Luoli suddenly shrank back as if she was about to cry. Master didn't scold her. Obviously, Master didn't think that way. I just thought she liked carving ice sculptures. Really, why is she worrying all alone? Lang Luoli did not hear the insults from her master, but instead received understanding and affirmation. She stood up excitedly, picked up an ice sculpture that she was most satisfied with, and handed it to the master. Master, this is for you. I like Master the most. Being able to give Master the ice sculpture carved by herself made her extremely happy. At this time, Su Jiqian stretched out her hand from the ice sculpture and slowly climbed out. She panted violently and felt like she was almost crushed to death by the ice sculpture. She looked around and found that she was surrounded by Master's ice sculptures. Su Jiqian immediately shouted, "Wow, Junior Sister Lang, you actually carved so many. I really can't tell, Junior Sister Lang, you are perverted disciple." Lang Luoli didn't hear Master's insults, but she heard Senior Sister Sus. Her expression suddenly darkened, and her body was shaking with anger. This senior sister, if the senior sister hadn't opened her closet, she wouldn't have to worry about being discovered by her master. Although it didn't matter if she was discovered, it still allowed her to escape behind closed doors. Even if the senior sister opened her closet privately, she still had the nerve to scold her. It's unbearable, even Lang Luoli can't bear it anymore. Ice, falling, technique. A strong wind blew suddenly inside the house, mixed with snowflakes as hard as iron flakes, roaring and rolling in. Su Jiqian felt the coercion enveloped, and cold sweat suddenly flowed from her forehead. She was afraid and said in horror, "Junior Sister Lang, you shouldn't be in the room, releasing your skills." Soon after, the 5 masters and apprentices stood in the square. On the top of Su Jiqian's head, between the 2 corners, there was a big bulge. Su Jiqian bowed sincerely towards Lang Luoli. "Junior Sister Lang, Senior Sister is wrong. Lang Luoli pursed her lips and reluctantly accepted her senior sister's apology. Bai Yawei saw that Master visited everyone's rooms one after another, but did not visit her own. She always felt that something was missing. She held Master's hand, shook it, and said softly, "Master, come and see Wei's room too." Chen Yi nodded, and was a little curious about what Bai Yawei's room would look like. The room of a cute lily must be pink and tender. The camera turned and the 5 people came to the tiles on the roof. Bai Yawei found a comfortable place, lay down beautifully, and said with a smile, "This is it. Master, do you want to rest with me?" Chen Yi, so you spend the night on the roof these days? Where? Actually there are quite a few rooms in Tianshuan Palace. You can find one to stay at. Bai Ya shook her head slightly. I don't know why, but I always feel very safe resting at high places. It's also very warm and comfortable. Chen Yi only felt more confused after hearing this. Please, you are obviously a white tiger, why are you becoming more and more like a house cat? But since she likes it, Chen Yi can't say much. After all, we have different races, so we have to learn to understand and respect them. After a short rest, everyone began to practice. Hu Juyu felt that her cultivation had reached a critical point, and soon she broke through to the acquired 4th layer. And Su Jiqian is still lingering in the 2nd layer world, and I'm afraid it won't be long before she is surpassed by junior sister Hu. In order to catch up with everyone as quickly as possible, she practiced extra hard this time. Time slowly came to evening. Late at night, Su Jiqian was still meditating in the corner, concentrating on comprehending the secrets of the exercises. Due to the high-intensity transfer of spiritual energy in her body was already soaked with fragrant sweat. The clothes were also wet with the fragrant sweat and stuck tightly to the skin. The graceful curves are extremely eye-catching. The black stockings with glossy stockings were also soaked, as if water would come out if they were twisted. I always feel like I've reached a bottleneck and can't break through. Master probably hasn't rested yet, so go ask Master. Thinking in her heart, Su Jiqian stood up and walked towards the Master's hall. On the way, she suddenly felt a figure flashing quickly behind her. She looked back and found Bai Yawei running quickly. Junior sister Bai is so anxious, what are you going to do? I guess I went out to play. I'll be back soon. Su Jiqian didn't think much and continued walking towards the Master's hall. At this time, Chen Yi was pacing back and forth in his room. He was holding the ice sculpture given by Lang Luoli in his hand. Chen Yi unexpectedly discovered that this ice sculpture might be specially made and would not melt due to the temperature. And it always exudes coolness, making it very comfortable to have around you in summer. Chen Yi was thinking about where it would be more appropriate to place this ice sculpture. After all, it was given by his beloved 2nd disciple and must be kept well. Finally, Chen Yi placed the ice sculpture on the bedside table next to his bed. Then he smiled with satisfaction. At this moment, Chen Yi's door was suddenly opened. When Chen Yi turned around and saw the eldest disciple walking in, he asked doubtfully, "Kaianer, are you coming again? Just yesterday, I was afraid that your body wouldn't be able to bear it." Su Jiqian came to see her master this time for cultivation matters. Not for anything else. Seeing the concerned look on Master's face, Su Jiqian felt a little funny. "Master, do you only think about these when you see me? What a perverted master, but the disciple likes." As she spoke, she walked forward and wrapped her arms around the Master's waist. Then they kissed. As the saying goes, the first time is raw, the second time is familiar, and the third time is confused. Chen Yi just let her play around, and the two separated after a long time. Su Jiqian originally wanted to talk about cultivation, but when she saw the handsome master, she couldn't hold back. Forget it, let's put the cultivation matters aside for now. By the way, master, although it's a little late, do you care about the sweat on my body? I just practiced, and I'm a little dirty. Chen Yi always felt that today's eldest disciple was particularly charming and attracted him very much. It even feels like the eldest disciple today is much more charming than usual. But for a while I couldn't tell the reason. Chen Yi smelled it and discovered that it was the fragrant sweat on the disciple's body, exuding an unparalleled fragrance. He simply couldn't resist the aroma. Not at all. It's better to say that your scent is spreading and attracting me even more. Hearing the master's special praise, Su Jiqian blushed unexpectedly. Master is really. Master, when I was practicing, I felt that it was difficult to break through the realm. Can you help me by the way? Chen Yi, it's simple, just help you clear it out. Quote. Master, is this how to clear the meridians? Quote. Shish, just do as the teacher says. Can I lie to you as a teacher? Quote. Outside Chen Yi's main hall, in Lang Luoli's room. Lang Luoli had the rare opportunity to create a one-to-one life-size ice sculpture of his master this time. I didn't dare to carve it before because it was hard to hide and I was afraid of being discovered. This time they had been discovered, so she let go. After completing the ice sculpture, Lang Luoli beautifully placed it on her bed. Then she put on her favorite pajamas and hugged the ice sculpture tightly on the bed. A pair of slender white legs just sat on top of the ice sculpture. A pair of snow white and slender jade hands stroked back and forth on the ice sculpture, on the face, chest, waist. Because I haven't seen it there, I didn't carve it out. Lang Luoli played for a while and felt that it was not fun enough and lacked feeling. She took out an ice sculpture from under the bed that was exactly the same as the one she gave to her master. His expression was thoughtful. The ice sculpture she gave to her master was specially made, and her newly learned photography formation was used in it. The eyes of the ice sculpture can actually transmit images. Although Lang Luoli felt that peeking into master's privacy was an extremely bad behavior and an act of rebellion. But she still couldn't help it, and sent the ice sculpture away. Lang Luoli held the ice sculpture at this time and hesitated in her heart for a long time. Just touching the master's life-size ice sculpture, a strange flame had already risen in her heart. She felt like she couldn't sleep unless she indulged herself. Just take a sneak peek. Master shouldn't be able to find it. As long as you don't make Master angry. Wait a minute, Master doesn't sleep without wearing pajamas, right? Hey, wouldn't that be better? Just take a look, one glance. She muttered, and then activated the projection array of the ice sculpture. Seeing the scene in the video, her eyes widened with shock on her face. The image does not have the function of transmitting sound and can only project the scene in front of you. The ice sculpture's eyes are facing the master, at the window above the bed. She could see that the image was shaking back and forth. If nothing else, the ice sculpture is shaking, so the reflected image is also shaking. Strange, is the ground shaking? No, Master is so close to me. If the ground is shaking, why can't I feel it? Lang Luoli murmured. In the image, she couldn't see anyone, maybe Master placed her ice sculpture in a relatively high place. Just when she felt a little disappointed, she suddenly saw a strand of hair floating in the image. Lang Luoli, is it Master's hair? No, Master's hair isn't that smooth, it looks like a girl's. The image was not very clear, just a strand of hair flashed, and she couldn't tell whose it belonged to. Lang Luoli's curiosity was aroused, and she felt even more unable to sleep. She was thoughtful for a moment, and then suddenly came up with a crooked idea. Master's main hall was destroyed yesterday, so Master went to his sister's room to spend the night. So tonight, when Master is not paying attention, she destroys Master's main hall. Is it possible that she can get Master's right to spend the night? What a filial and good apprentice. The more Lang Luoli thought about it, the more excited she became. The surge of spiritual power has begun to appear on her ice blue staff. But reason finally defeated desire. Master is not a fool, how could he destroy the main hall without Master knowing? Why don't you blame senior sister after you smash it? Anyway, the senior sister has tricked her so many times, so it shouldn't be too much for her to turn the tables on her once. Obviously, Lang Luoli hasn't given up on this idea yet. But Lang Luoli didn't know that her senior sister was also in the hall. Lang Luoli finally shook her head and collapsed on the bed. She still can't do anything like slandering others. I have no choice but to feel sorry for myself. Lang Luoli looked at the empty image. Soon after, her expression looked slightly satisfied, and she collapsed on the bed weakly and slowly fell asleep. Early the next morning, Chen Yi didn't sleep last night. He worked hard to help the disciple clear his meridians. The eldest disciple has finally solved his confusion and will surely achieve a breakthrough soon. Su Jiqian's head was buried in the warm chest of her master, her expression was incomparably satisfied, but she was also extremely exhausted. From this angle, Su Jiqian just saw the ice sculpture on the bedside table. She asked curiously, "Master, that ice sculpture was given to you by junior sister Leng?" Chen Yi nodded. "Yeah, what's wrong?" Su Jiqian looked thoughtful. "I don't know if I'm worrying too much, but I always felt like someone was watching me yesterday." Hee, but in front of the ice sculpture made by junior sister Leng, there is something different. Yesterday, she seemed to have a feeling of being watched. The mood becomes even more. Before getting up, the two of them had some pillow talk on the bedside. Chen Yi always said anything to his eldest disciple, except for the matter of transmigrate, and never hid it. And the eldest disciple will also reveal his true thoughts to the master, such as trivial matters in daily life, or what happened with the junior sisters. The two are intimate lovers, not just a physical relationship. They love each other and do things that make each other happy. After the two chatted for a while, they got up and tidied up. This time the two of them did not sleep until noon, but ended in the early morning. Because the two of them didn't sleep at all. After sorting out their images, the two came to the square together. Hu Juyu was already meditating in the square. What surprised Chen Yi was that Leng Luoli didn't show up. According to his understanding of Leng Luoli, she should be the earliest to get up and the one who practices the hardest. Chen Yi first took his two disciples to meditate for a while. After a while, Leng Luoli came out of the room. Her hair was scattered behind her head and not tied up. It was obvious that she was in a hurry when she got up and skipped this step. She also looked a little tired. Sometimes, having bed with yourself can be quite exhausting. When Chen Yi saw her like this, he asked with concern, "Lear, what's wrong with you? Are you feeling uncomfortable?" "I got sick." Chen Yi doesn't think monks in this world are still sick. But the second disciple does look a bit similar. Leng Luoli felt warm in her heart when she heard her master's concern. But, it's hard to say whether she is sick or not. "I'm afraid only Master can cure her disease." "Thank you, Master, for your concern, Lear, it's okay." Chen Yi nodded. "That's good. If you want to rest more, I won't blame you. You should pay more attention to your health. If you want to practice, you will have a master to accompany you. We have plenty of time." Chen Yi is not a strict master. Even compared to normal masters, his strength can be said to be extremely relaxed. In Chen Yi's opinion, he was already close to being invincible. At least there are no enemies in this continent. Then his disciples' lives will naturally not be in danger. Whether the realm improves quickly or slowly is no longer important. As long as the disciples can be healthy and happy, that will be fine. Everything else will be leveled by him as the master. Leng Luoli knew the master very well and naturally knew that the master would not blame her for this. But when she felt master's concern, she was still deeply moved. She walked to the master's side and knelt down to sit down. He looked at the master with an expression full of affection, and his pupils almost turned into blue hearts. "Master." When Chen Yi looked at her like this, he felt his heart beat a little faster. Second disciple, what is going on today? He was concerned for a moment, as if he wanted to eat him. I have to say that the second disciple with his long hair is easy to see. Although the second disciple's figure is not plump, he is tall, with cold white skin, delicate and cool facial features, and a full sense of temperament. Paired with beautiful legs that are longer than life, it's hard to imagine how to resist this charm. Lear, why do you look at me as a teacher like this? Leng Luoli realized that she had lost her composure and quickly turned her head shyly. No, it's nothing. By the way, have you seen junior sister Bai? Where has she gone? Leng Luoli was a little shy and quickly changed the topic. This is not only what she wants to ask, other disciples have also been wondering about it for a long time. Hu Juyu has not seen the shadow of her lovely junior sister since she woke up early in the morning. Even on the roof where Bai Yahweh likes to lie down, there is no sign of her. It seemed like it just disappeared out of thin air. Although Bai Yahweh comes to Tianshuan Palace much later in the evening than other disciples. But these days, her shadow is always around me, and everyone is living happily together. Everyone has long regarded her as a good friend, not an outsider. Chen Yi even regarded him as his fourth direct disciple. Chen Yi was obviously a little worried about his disciple's sudden disappearance. There is a feeling that someone very close to him suddenly disappears from his side, and he feels empty in his heart. At this moment, Su Jiqian recalled. I meditated very late yesterday, and I seemed to see junior sister Bai. She left in a hurry. I thought she went out to play. Her expression looked a bit remorseful, as if she was blaming herself. If she had paid more attention at that time, junior sister Bai wouldn't have suddenly disappeared. What if she is in danger? She will blame herself even more. After all, as the eldest senior sister in this sect, although she is usually a bit out of tune, but she still values her junior sisters very much and has a strong sense of responsibility. Chen Yi rubbed her head and said softly, "It's not your fault. It's my responsibility as a teacher. My teacher didn't take good care of her. He left suddenly. There must be something important." According to the rules of most sects, it is a very serious act for a direct disciple to leave without permission without reporting the matter to the master. But Chen Yi was not angry. In his opinion, Bai Yahweh must have encountered some problem or some unexplainable reason, so he left without saying goodbye. Bai Yahweh must need him very much now. Let the master release his spiritual consciousness to investigate. Chen Yi became a little anxious when he thought that the fourth disciple might be in danger. He first released his consciousness to cover the entire Profound Heaven sect, but did not see Bai Yahweh's shadow. Then he continued to expand his consciousness to the entire Lingshu mountain. The time came yesterday evening. Bai Yahweh was sleeping on the roof. She used a pair of white cat paws as a pillow and placed them underneath. She looked very cute. Just when she was about to fall asleep, a loud noise suddenly woke her up from her sleep. The loud noise was a dragon's roar, and the sound was a bit deep, as if it was the roar of a giant dragon that had awakened from ancient times. Bai Yahweh frowned when she heard the dragon roar. There are many monster kings in Lingshu Mountain, but only one monster can make a dragon roar. The only monster race emperor in Lingshu Mountain, the dragon emperor who is in charge of countless monster kings, Long Lan. Bai Yahweh recognized this dragon roar. This dragon roar was hidden using spiritual power. Only those who were also in the monster race could hear it. Generally, this dragon roar will be resounded when the safety of the entire Lingshu mountain monster race is concerned, or when the help of monsters is needed. Thereby summoning monster kings scattered all over the place to discuss. However, Bai Yahweh has already become a disciple of Profound Heaven sect, so naturally there is no need to obey the Dragon King's instructions. But Long Lan had a good relationship with her before. During the long years when she was a demon, the two often played together. Long Lan also helped her a lot, and she owed him a favor. If she didn't help, it would look like she wasn't interesting enough. She's not some kind of demon who doesn't repay kindness. If she knew her benefactor was in danger but still didn't go, she would blame herself for the rest of her life. Thinking in her mind, Bai Yahweh looked towards the master's room. For a strong person like master, if she asks for master's help, she will be able to solve difficult problems. But she already owed master for saving her life, so why bother bothering master? This matter has nothing to do with master or the senior sisters. It is better for her to solve it alone. Bai Yahweh stood up and was surprised to find that senior sister Su was still practicing. In order not to be discovered and disturb everyone, she left in a hurry without saying hello. Lingshu Mountain is vast and boundless. Even with Bai Yahweh's speed, it took an hour to reach Long Lan's cave. Long Lan is the strongest demon in Lingshu Mountain. The last time Bai Yahweh saw her, her realm was Violet Palace Realm's 6th layer. Even in this continent, it is difficult to imagine anyone being her opponent. The reason why the entire Lingshu Mountain can become a gathering place for monsters is because of her protection, which ordinary human monks cannot enter. That's why there is Lingshu Mountain, which maintains its original style. Profound Heaven sect was able to remain undiscovered by intruders and undisturbed by outsiders, but it was thanks to her help. Although Chen Yi is not afraid of any enemies, he will be troubled by the random ones coming from time to time. When Bai Yahweh arrived at Long Lan's cave, the place was already bustling with activity. There was a dense crowd of human monks gathered outside the cave, and it was as far as the eye could see. The powerful powers of the Violet Palace realm who came from nowhere have also gathered here, and the monks of the Divine Treasure realm even look much more inconspicuous. Bai Yahweh made a rough calculation and found that there were nearly 1,000 people. Countless coercion shrouded from these monks, making the surrounding atmosphere terrifyingly depressing. These monks seemed to be discussing something thousands of meters away from the Lingshu mountain territory. Bai Yahweh didn't hesitate anymore and flew towards Long Lan's cave. It's not dark inside the cave, there's firelight all around. The walls are inlaid with many shining golden trophies, weapons, jewelry, everything. Although the things looked priceless, they were a bit messy and lacked aesthetic appeal. When we came to the cave, many monsters had gathered in the cave, and they were discussing something bustling. The reason why we in Lingshu Mountain have been able to live a stable life until now are all due to the protection of the Dragon Emperor. But now the Dragon King's transcending tribulation has failed, and his realm has dropped to the Violet Palace realm's second layer. He is also seriously injured, making it difficult to fight. The human monks have been spying on the resources of our Lingshu Mountain for a long time. I'm afraid our Lingshu Mountain will be destroyed this time. Crossing Thunder Tribulation is not only available to monks in the Transcending Tribulation stage. Generally, when you reach the Violet Palace realm, every time you break through a small realm, a small-scale Thunder Tribulation will occur. Although the Thunder Tribulation of Violet Palace realm is very different from the Thunder Tribulation of Transcending Tribulation stage, each time it is still lingering on the border of death. Therefore, many monks will stop at the Divine Treasure Realm 9th layer, never break through, and seek a stable life. But there are always monks who want to pursue higher goals, even if they risk their lives. But not every time is lucky. Bai Yahweh crossed the demon group and came to the front alone, looking at Long Lan with some worry. The dragon race is the most special monster race. It does not need to be cultivated to transform into a human form. It is born with the ability to transform freely. Long Lan was still in human form at this time. She was sitting on her golden throne with a sad look on her face. Her figure is very tall. If you calculate carefully, she is the height of 2 Bai Yahweh. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.